I always end up muting my mic when I start the show. So welcome to the Co-optional Podcast, episode 223.
Jen, you're muted.
Am I muted? No, not anymore. I was, though.
No one got to hear that you loved me or anything. Oh.
And I'm going to say it again.
Story of my life.
I know. No, we started the podcast with
we
Jesse Cox.
redacted it before it could be said.
Yeah.
Jesse Cox announcing that he is back. Welcome back, Jesse. How are your adventures abroad? Tell us.
Man, great. CosCon was super fun and like ultra chill, and Evo was great, and I'm still recovering from all of the above. So yeah, it's nice to be back and not have to go anywhere for a while.
He's like earlier, he's like, I'm so tired and I got like 8 hours of sleep yesterday. I'm like, Jesse, you're still catching up on sleep.
There's not enough Red Bull in the world for where I'm at, but I've been like doing I've been getting up early and like going to bed reasonably early. Like I'm doing adult stuff now. It's weird. It's a different life. Everyone
What's the reasonable
like,
for you?
It's 9:30. I'm like, sorry, I'm 30 minutes late for bed.
Adulting. What is that again?
Yeah. I know, it's crazy.
I don't understand. Welcome to the show, Margaret Krohn. We have been looking forward to having you. Unfortunately, we had to cancel a show, I think maybe a month or maybe even 2 months ago. And unfortunately, we had to bump your guest appearance on the show. And we are so lucky to have you today. Brooke has had some health issues with her baby overnight. Oh. And Maggie stepped in graciously at the last minute and is like, hey, I got some PTO. I'll come and do that. And I'm just like, yay. So welcome to the show, Maggie. How you been?
I mean, I would say they're big shoes to fill Brooke's shoes, but she's also small like me, so I can actually fit right into those shoes. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing. Hey, I'm a short person too, so.
I don't care. It was a good joke. I like it.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for bringing me back. I always have a good time chatting about games and, of course, hanging out with lovely, amazing people.
Aww, so awesome. And, of course, special welcome to our guest who was planned. This is a planned thing. Planned things with the podcast and me haven't been going so well lately. But this is a plan that worked out, so very big welcome to Jeff. You'll know him as SpaceHamster Games over on YouTube. And some of you might know him from some of his work with Peanut Butter Gamer. So Peanut Butter Gamer and Jeff. Is that the name of the series? PB and Jeff. That's what it is. Yeah. Sorry, I usually... Yeah.
Nah, don't worry about it.
They just have hundreds of thousands of views, but no, it's okay. Nah.
I was telling Jenna how she timed this perfectly for a lot of space-themed things. I have the Space Vikings. Jeff is a Space Hamster, and we've got the Space Butterflies. It's like
it was.
You're like more in the zone though, because your background though, like you're living it. You're living the life.
Oh, you don't even know.
She is a Viking.
Yeah.
She pillages on weekends.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to get my Space Marine helmet now, or my Samus.
It's really hard to talk in that thing.
Helmet. It is. Yeah, it's hard to talk in both of mine. I'm just like, I could, but they're not in this room. I'd have to run downstairs to the garage and grab it. But yeah, coffee.
And I'm sorry, I'm not bringing any fancy accents. I feel like last episode you guys had a French accent and a British accent, which are lovely to listen to. I can fake them.
Can you though?
Oh, we could.
I would love to hear that.
We could. Maggie and me role play. We could do it. Yeah. We could make it happen.
No.
Hit us with it. Hit us.
Now it's too much pressure. I can't.
Yeah, speaking of when we had Geneviève on, we know her as Jen, so it's kind of weird using her full name, Fabre. She was on the podcast, I think 2 weeks ago. Her game Death Garden is coming out this month, I believe, in a couple weeks. So I know we have some keys that are going to be available for some of the viewers, and I'll probably reach out on Twitter and post some stuff in the Twitch chat later on as to like how you can sort of get one of those if you'd like. I know we saw a little bit of a preview of the game during that week, and some of you had some pretty positive things to say. I haven't played the game, so I can't really give an accurate assessment or criticism of the game either way, but just so you know, those keys are still available and coming out to you guys, so stay tuned for stuff about Death Garden. We'll kick off news this week, or actually maybe I should tell you why I wasn't here. I missed the podcast last week because I was having chemo in the hospital, and it was a type of chemo that I hadn't had before. Typically, I just do like injections. For those of you who don't know, I have or had screened positive for uterine cancer, and I kind of kept it a secret all throughout John's struggle with cancer, because I'm just like, I'm putting my own stuff aside. I got to focus on him. He's, the one who's doing worse off of the two of us at the time. So I didn't really make an announcement about it's like, hey guys, guess what? Because I just didn't want that kind of attention. But the only reason I'm telling you guys now is because that is why I wasn't here last week, I think it was, because I had been doing a different chemo treatment in hospital. It was really rough, and I woke up thinking that it was Monday. And it was actually 4 p.m. on the Tuesday of that week. So it'd taken a lot out of me, and so I'm sorry that you guys didn't get a show last week, but you're getting a show this week. We did something. Yay!
You're working your butt off.
Maybe.
It's okay,
Okay. Gaming news. Some exciting stuff, I suppose. Depends on if you like gaming news or not.
If you're not into gaming news, I don't know what
Depends why you're tuning in.
That's why you're tuning in. That's why you're here. Sometimes we talk about video games. No, I say that about gaming news because sometimes the scandal is kind of fun. Just a little bit.
Oh boy.
Sometimes. No, this one isn't so much scandalous, although we do have some stuff that is, I guess, semi-scandalous later in the news. But first off, headlines: Mario Kart 8 and Grand Theft Auto 5 top the European game charts. Is this 2014?
The people like what the people like.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna say the same thing.
I guess Mario Kart's like one of those staple games that everyone gets for like a new console, right? So
why not?
I mean, even I was playing it last week a little bit. I never played though. My like race score in that game is like 1,300. You start out at like 1,000. I've played not that much of it.
I am also not the best at it. I'm like a careful driver, and we were
what?
I'm like, anyone who knows me, that's just like the type of person I'm a very meticulous person. And I was playing against the kids at St. Jude when I was at St. Jude Play Live, and like everyone who's watching me is like, you know that like this isn't how you play the game. I'm like staying in between the lines. I'm like, but this is my lane.
This is my lane. I love that.
Jesse's like, no. Oh God.
That's really cute is what it is, and I just don't like it. It's just
I don't want to hurt people.
I can't play games like Mario Kart very easily. I have issues with stereoscopic vision, so I can't see the barriers, anything that's like in a 3D sort of element. I can't quite see where I'm going or where I need to go. So some tracks in that game are a little bit difficult for me to handle, but some of the features that they've put in, like, oh, like here's a bit of like driving assist, I'm like, I guess this was made for people like me, but at the same time, everybody kicks my butt at it. So I'm not sure I can say that I am in love with that game.
It's fun though,
but it is
and
fun.
like the maps are really colorful, and I think they keep adding different ones, right?
Yeah.
But I can see why someone would go back and play that. It's kind of one of those things that's like a classic that people always go back to playing.
Well, it's also like one of the only online games, right? So for the Switch
co-op online.
Well, right now I've bought like a decent amount of Switch games now, but I think that's really the only one I would play online right now. Like I can't imagine playing anything else, like Splatoon 2 maybe, but
you're right though. I can't think of anything on Switch that's like why you would need online stuff. Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise me either if people are picking it up on like Switch or something for Mario Kart. I would totally understand that. I was a bit surprised about Grand Theft Auto 5. My son is actively playing it right now. He just does the driving bit. He's not allowed to go to the club.
It's one of those things where like every gamer knows Grand Theft Auto, like everyone. And I think that I purchased it on console and then I immediately purchased it on PC whenever it came out. Like why wouldn't I have it on both? I couldn't wait a year.
I just imagine stopping at all the red lights and like waiting for pedestrians.
I did that before.
I actually drive really carefully too.
I did that once. I'm so ashamed that I did that in a game. I got so tunnel visioned that I did it.
You're deep in that RP of the real world. Like you just like, I want to be good.
Speaking of like RP, I think one of the things that has also revived Grand Theft Auto in a way that like I don't know if they were ever expecting to become so big is there is like a whole RP community who does amazing RP server stuff, and it is like some of the funniest shit I have ever seen in my life. Like I will give a shout out to my homie Thaddeus. I love watching his streams late at night, but if I can't sleep. Some of the most hilarious moments. Like the RP is like cops and like legit having like it's just so funny. I'm like, I can't.
Also in news, Fortnite, because we never finish talking.
They're
about
always
Fortnite
in the news
ever.
Yeah.
They're always
It's never
in the
gonna
news.
go away. It's
Coming
just
to
gonna be like a new
Android.
Well, I mean, like it's gonna be a while anyway.
Yeah, they're finally coming to Android, and I say finally because it seemed like 1 week it was like, hey, we're on PC, and then week 2 is like, hey, we're on iOS, and then it's just like exploding. It's like every platform you can think of, but it's actually coming to Android phones, but not through Google Play. It's like you wouldn't take any consideration for the native platform that most people purchase their apps through. I kind of don't understand that move, if I'm honest. Maybe I'm just confused.
I would assume that it's just so they can make more money, right?
Not having to push out updates, I guess.
Yeah. Well, because if they're releasing it, because what are they doing? Are they just releasing it straight up through their website and you have to just go download it?
That's the idea, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they say it's because of community. They want to make sure that they are like the direct line with the community. But at the same time, I'm just like, it doesn't actually take that much away from the community if you just download an app. I mean, you're already having people download. I mean, I know it's forced on iOS, but I mean, it just seems weird. It's like, no, we want to have a direct line with our community. We want to stick IVs in them and pump our Fortnite into their veins and make sure that they're hooked on our drug.
Honestly, they probably would if they could.
They would, yes. They
coming
would.
From a developer standpoint, I think having the control over your product is always going to be the best standpoint. I mean, you're always like, whenever you're using platforms like Steam or Google or Apple stuff, like any of those leeways that are like the stepping stone, you're always paying a portion. Like Steam takes like a good portion of the money that you make. And even if you didn't originally get the game through that and then you later go do it, they take it from there, from that starting point. So and then there's also a bunch of rules that you have to follow to get your product approved before it can go even on that store. So I can see where, from a developer standpoint, it's probably much easier to just create it and have it be something that you have the control over.
Well, it works for them because they're so huge already. I think, well, because like everyone knows what Fortnite is, so they can just straight up be like, okay, we're gonna go download it. Here you go.
What you normally gain as a benefit from, for instance, putting your game on Steam is the fact that Steam already has like a major community, and of course you want to tap into that community. But if you already own it, why like, you know what I mean? You're just giving someone else part of the money.
Yeah, the only reason I brought it up as semi-relevant in gaming news is because the only way I actually learned about Fortnite before everyone started streaming it was by being in the iOS store and just looking at, you know, random things to play on my iPad, and I saw that Fortnite was #1, and I was like, huh, what's this thing? It's like, what Clash of Clans clone is this? And I'm just like, and I see it, and I downloaded it immediately.
It's nothing like Clash of Clans.
No, but it's just like the art style like threw me, And so the only way I found out about that, and I get that I would have found out a week or so later, obviously from everybody playing it online and on Twitch, but I just thought it was kind of weird. And so I'm thinking at the same time, just as a consumer, why would you not want to be number one in the App Store or the Google Play Store? Why would that not be to your advantage? But it has gotten so big now that I guess you probably have to literally be dead in order not to know what Fortnite is.
I think that's the big thing is when it comes down to it, what do they gain from going into business with Google on that? Because Google's going to take something or try to have say over stuff, and they don't need that hassle, and everyone knows Fortnite, and I guarantee most of the people who were waiting for it are going to get it anyway. So I feel like from their end as a company, they're just like, they need us more than we need them.
Beyond just money, there's also data. A lot of the BI behind your game is then open to Google or iOS or whoever, Steam, pending whatever you decide to do. I mean, that's why people have all that data readily available on Steam, is because you're on Steam, so I can see how many people are playing, right? But if you weren't there, people wouldn't be able to tell that right off the bat, unless you have open API, which not every company does.
Does anyone know the percentage that the Google Play Store takes from?
Everyone in chat has been saying 30%, which
30%?
Yeah, that's
incredibly high.
That's a lot.
I don't know.
Percent is generally where most companies are. Even
look, YouTube takes 50 off the top, so
yeah,
what the hell are we complaining about?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's 30% is generally where it tends to be, but obviously it depends on the game and the product and their desire to want you on their platform. I mean, I think that they would definitely give deals to somebody who Fortnite, for instance, who has a lot to offer them. Right? It's what you're giving and taking in return. So
I never thought of it from the data perspective either. Just how they have all your information already and just stat tracking and all that kind of stuff.
And behavior. It's a lot of just behavior intelligence that they can incorporate, especially when you have millions and billions of players. Everyone wants that data. They're I want to know what these kids are thinking so I can make that next product that's going to be better than Fortnite.
I love that there's someone trying to know what kids are thinking because God bless them.
I don't want to know.
We get into some of that. We get into some of that in a little bit. One thing that we can talk about while we're talking about Fortnite is that parents are now hiring coaches to improve their kids' Fortnite game.
I will coach your kid in Fortnite.
$20 an hour.
I promise.
$20 an hour to coach a kid to play Fortnite better.
How do you gauge how much better they're getting at the do you just send them, you're okay, you got to record your session, the first session ever, you got to record this so I know if you're getting better at the game after I spend hundreds of dollars on training you.
I can't
it's a weird spin on pay to win, isn't it?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I think it's really interesting from a Western standpoint that a lot of people here on the West are surprised by this. I think if you look at a lot of other countries, for instance, Korea, if you are a kid and you're Mom, I want to be a professional esports player. They're okay, this is now what you're going to do. So I think it just depends on the mentality that you're thinking about it.
Right.
I think as we've slowly been seeing esports becoming a bigger thing on ESPN. I mean, obviously people are still freaking out about it. What are these games on my sports channel? But I think once people come to terms with it, we will see a lot more people seeing it as a viable career path. Obviously, it's just like a lot of other sports, it's a very small window that you're going to be a professional. So
yeah.
The problem with this though, is I don't necessarily know that these are young people who want a professional carear in.
No,
that's the whole thing.
It's more like parents who don't want to see their kids be angry because they lost. And they're Jimmy, what if we got you a tutor that could teach you to win? And he's Mom, it's basically Veruca Salts. They're all I want it now. I want to be the winner. I think that's what's happening, but I don't know.
No, it is.
Veruca Salts.
And this is kind of the quote that Variety put out when they put out this news story. According to the parents that they interviewed, some children are feeling pressure not just to play it with their friends, but also to succeed. And so this is going into their friends at school. You have to play well with the kids at school Otherwise, you're not as popular.
Being
I guess.
a nerd in this generation is actually a cool thing. And if you're good at games, it's actually a cool thing. It has been the weirdest thing for me seeing this change because when I was a kid, I'd be like shoved in a locker.
Oh gosh, yes. It's like
nerd. I don't like this. This is so what the article is saying is that
I'm sorry.
These kids feel the pressure
to be better.
Successful at Fortnite because their peer group demands that they be good at it.
Here are the 2 case studies that were presented in the Variety article that I'm looking at right now. Is quote, one of the parents, Allie Hicks, is listed. There's pressure not just to play, but to be really good at it. She bought 4 hours of lessons for her 10-year-old son.
No, there's no pressure. There's no pressure for a 10-year-old to do this.
Here's the thing.
This is what she said.
I know you're watching. You are wasting your money, Allie.
This is what she said.
Buy that kid a Big Mac. He'll be fine.
She said, you can imagine what it was like for him at school.
Here's the thing to think about now. Take a moment to step back and look at this generation. You have kids who all have cell phones, like starting when they're like 9, 10 years old. You have access to plethora of social media platforms where people can just talk freely about you. It's so different than what it used to be for us as kids. So I think you do have to take a step into like what it is like. Not that I'm saying that I as a mother would want my 10-year-old to be getting better at Fortnite by paying for lessons. But I think that you do have to take in the pressure of like school is so much different. And then like the social interactions are so different now than they were when we were kids.
So it's like, I'm going to walk up to you. I'm going to walk up to you with my like smartphone and pull up my stats, my win percentage on Fortnite and be like, yo, can we chill?
No, my kid's going to have to write letters to his or her friends if they want to communicate. Like nothing happening. I'm going to be like, you get fucking nothing.
Jesse's going to be like when we were kids, you know how you take your wagon, you put your computer in the wagon, you walk it over to your friend's house, you knock on the door, Jimmy's not home today. Fuck. Take your wagon back home.
Kick some
and it's
rocks.
Like that huge monitor that weighs like 80 pounds.
Yep.
So true. I mean, being a parent, and this is one of the reasons I was hoping that Dukes would actually be on the show today, particularly, not that we don't love you, Maggie. I'm so grateful you're here. But just because, you know, her being a new mom, these are things that she's probably having to think about for the first time, like as a parent. I am a parent. I have a 15-year-old kid. I just spent $260 on a new mouthpiece and embouchure for his bass clarinet that he plays nonstop and is learning a useful skill that at some point may transition into what he wants to do future, like down the road. He always has something to fall back on if he wants to just go and major in music in college or whatnot. He doubles and triples on instruments. So I can understand paying someone $20 an hour for piano lessons, for example, because that's a skill.
So here's a thought that I want to pull from chat. So Saul Angel 777. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. I apologize in advance. I cannot read shit when it comes to names on Twitch. Says not only about social and peer pressure, they're prepping them to win money and scholarships because Epic Games has shown interest in esports and is giving money to kids for college. So that's an interesting take on things too, is that there are ways for kids to make money to go to college through esports.
True. But it just seems such left field for me at the moment. And it shouldn't, because we have people, obviously StarCraft, huge deal. Well, at least for me and 5 other people, if anyone else watched the GSL finals. But it's I know that we have friends who are esports or StarCraft 2 trainers, coaches in Control. Jeff Robinson, for example, used to, I'm not sure if he still does, but he used to coach people in StarCraft. But most
I thought he was an old drunk now. Was that? What happened to him?
Oh, he's awesome. We're starting a tabletop RPG that starts on the 11th of September. He's
going to be drunk the entire time.
Let's go to the tavern. Is my character at the tavern? Am I getting drunk?
He's a I don't know if I'm allowed to say. I think he's a paladin, so I hope he's not getting drunk at the tavern.
No, his character sheet wouldn't allow for that. But I don't know. I guess that's why it seems left field for me. But at the same time, I can understand. Kids are under a completely different type of pressure. They have always been exposed to social media. They're the first generation that has grown up completely on social media. Their values are about how many likes or hearts or whatever they have on whichever platform. I remember watching a stand-up comedian, Eliza Scherzlinger. I'm sure I'm saying her name completely wrong, but she came out with a special on Netflix a little while ago called Elder Millennial for people basically born in 1983, which is me right here. Elder Millennial, because we're right at the cutoff line.
We're at the edge of it, right?
Yeah, we're at the cutoff.
We're still millennials, but like
I'm
barely.
none of them. I'm so disappointed. I found out that I fall in a range where I'm not Gen X or millennial because I was born the one year where they're like, we don't know what the fuck you are. Yeah. So I'm an aberration.
I know. And I feel that, Jesse. I feel that in the same way.
What's the in-between year?
81 is the in-between year.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know what we're supposed to be because we didn't grow up with technology, but technology is what it phased into us when we were in like high school in 8th grade and shit. And so
and that's the majority.
It's cool
for
to
me
be
too.
part of this generation though, because we've gotten to see technology where we had dial up until now. Like it's such a different experience. Like we're in fucking Star Trek, guys. Like what the fuck is this shit? It's nuts.
Well, and you're saying like the kids are growing up with all the social media stuff and it's all kind of about the likes and things like that. Whereas like I think because we grew up with it, we realize like some of us maybe getting to the point where we're just like, nah, like it's getting to be a little too much for me. Like I'm like taking a step back even where I don't want to be on the social media stuff as much if I can help it.
Same.
Here, I want to propose a question to you, Jenna, just because you do bring up the point of that you are a mother and you're dealing with a child who's actually right at that age where things are getting very interesting. Mm-hmm. I have a little sister who's 13. And so I understand like it's very, how do you balance that like online time versus
basically
not, and not only that, but technology in general, because like it's such a weird, and obviously you are going to do things differently. Everyone as a parent should do the thing that they feel right, because not every kid has the same mental capacity. So I do want to put that forward.
Yeah. Foremost, my kid has Asperger's, so he obviously has a different needs set than every other kid. I mean, that's individual altogether. Every kid is kind of different in the way that they are raised, for one, and things that parents do and don't allow. For me, I am kind of grateful that I grew up in the technological age and era of development, because not only did I learn coding from a very early age, I learned hacking from a very early age out of like necessity, I guess. And so I am the queen of my home
Jenna's
internet
secretly like
network.
a drug lord.
So like if I notice that there is something coming, I mean, I have tons of alerts set up, and they'll go to my phone, they'll go to my iPad, they'll go to whatever device I happen
that's a
to
good
be
way
on.
to do it. Is like
and
secret
it tells
tracking.
Me, yes, and it tells me, and I try not to invade his privacy so much when it comes to the physicality of things, but he knows, and it's like a firm thing that I've rooted in from the very beginning. If you go online, nothing you do is private online. I'm just putting it out there. Big Brother, whoever, whatever, unless you are like VPNing through a million different connections and you are literally deep web, people know what you're up to online. So he knows that anything he does online, I will know about. So if I see something that is outside of the parameters that I've already set up, even if the connection is being throttled really hard, I'll be like, okay, let's see up to, and I can see every website that he's currently on. I can see every app that his Windows is using. I can open his CD-ROM drive if I want to, because I have Trojan horsed his computers, all of them.
Oh, Mom.
That's pretty intense, not gonna lie.
Here's the thing, most moms are not like that.
And that's
my mom
the thing.
doesn't even
That's
know how
why
to
it's
turn
different.
a computer on. So I am always curious, like how parents like my mother handle and like that type of situation can handle what is going on with their kid's life. It's so it's scary to me.
Yeah, his best friend has a mom and parents who are older than me and my generation, so I can kind of speak to that, because what they do in their house is all their kids share devices. So they all share like one phone, they all share like a console, they all share a computer, and she unplugs everything that goes internet wise, or anything internet. She literally just pulls the plug on the router at like 9 p.m. and that's it. There's just no internet from 9 p.m.
That's one way to do
7
it.
a.m. And I'm like, well, that's some way to do it. But at the same time, if there's a PC and it's anywhere at all accessible, because she has it in their room, and I'm just like, you do know that all they have to do is download games or pirate games or set things to offline load up in Steam, and they can still be playing those games at all hours of the night. So it doesn't really work like that. So from that point on, she started going in and getting the power supply for the computer and
that's
locking it up.
Strategy.
Yeah. But at the same time, I had a conversation with her, like, if you are consistently denying these things to your kids instead of teaching them moderation,
they're going to go crazy.
As soon as they go to college,
you're going to do the opposite of what you want always.
Yes. But as soon as they get their freedom, that is going to be it. You're not going to see them again.
Just a dorm room of power supplies.
Every
plug used up. Plugs in plugs.
Boxes in boxes.
They won't even.
They're getting crazy.
They won't even know that each computer can possibly have its own independent internet connection. Instead, it's going to be him and their three brothers daisy chaining computers. Like, come on, guys, we all got to share the one internet. It's okay. You can stream now, and I'll download this later. And I just warped sense of.
Well, I think when I grew up, we had a computer that we shared. Old DOS days, we all shared the computer.
Yeah,
and we
had too much
playing on it. And also you had to worry about dial-up and phones and if people were calling. So I think that there, even when I was a kid, there was a semblance of that. But it wasn't, I don't know, my dad didn't really regulate us and like that. But also I don't think we were abusing our time with it necessarily.
Sure. The internet was a different beast. It wasn't a thing that you could easily access. You actually had to I'm going to be on the internet for 1 hour. So if anyone's trying to reach me, it's going to be a busy signal. I'm sorry. Right? You had to really plan stuff out.
Yeah, but you'd have to go knock on everyone's door to let them know that.
Oh yeah. Oh, you would have to really guys, from 8 to 9 every day, I'm going to be on the internet. But this is one of those, I think the best thing a parent can do, especially as technology increases more and more rapidly, the best thing to do is learn about the thing your kid is interested in and take an active interest in your child, so that do your homework, do your adult parent homework where you're my son or daughter likes this. Let's figure out what the hell it is they like before we try to regulate it. Let's figure out what it is.
Yeah, and that's why I don't inherently think that the lesson thing is necessarily bad, just because it's they're taking a vested interest in something they want to get good at. So I'm like, okay. But at the same time, it's still kind of a weird transition.
I'm still going to make fun of you for it, but good on you, Miss Hicks, for taking interest in your child. I appreciate that. I'm going to be ruthless in my making fun of you, but
oh no, the better quote actually came from Nick Menon, who is the other person who contributed his say to this article. He's been paying coaches to tutor his son, whose name is Noble. And he's a 12-year-old, so a little bit older than our 10-year-old that we were talking about. And he's gone from struggling in the game to throwing down 10 to 20 wins. Yeah. So he's got measurable metrics. What?
You know what?
But here's the thing. I think it's cool that a parent would get invested in what their kid is doing and be proud of them for that. Because sure. I grew up in a household, or even as an adult, with people saying, you should stop doing that and wasting your time, because all that time you're spending playing video games, you could be out meeting people and doing things and progressing your life. And then they're like, you're never going to be in the game industry. That's not a thing. And look at me now. So I think that to me, if my parents understood what I did, or the people around me understood and helped me or encouraged me, I think I probably would have done things even faster than I did now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally Totally understand. I had parents who did not understand anything at all about what I was doing online, and they kind of didn't want to know.
My mom still doesn't know really what I do. I mean, she knows what I do, but like it's still way completely out of her realm. She doesn't know anything about video games, and she's super anti-techie. It's like I can barely turn on the TV and stuff like that sometimes, and I'm just like, oh my God.
Y'all missing out. My mom watching right now. Hello. I guarantee it.
Hi, Mom.
That's cute.
Episode when one doesn't
You're a
happen,
good mom.
she messages me like, "Are you guys podcasting today? Because I haven't seen anything online about it." Oh yeah, she knows more about. I guarantee she knows more about all of you right now than I do. She is she is an internet whiz. My mom is like smarter than me on the internet. I do not have her chops. Oh yeah, she's got it figured out. Oh yeah.
Sweet. See, and my mom is like, I think she still doesn't understand what I do. I think she's coming to terms with it, but about 2 years ago, there was a moment where I was like with my aunts, and she was like, "So when are you going to use your degree to like get a job, like an actual job?" And I was like,
Whoa.
You know how much I make? Like, I'm doing good.
Like a real job.
I just released 3 games. Like, what do you want from me? And my other aunts are like, she's like doing fine. I think she just doesn't understand like what I do or any of that.
It's just all relative. Like if you're not in that space at all, you just won't get it, I don't think.
Yeah, which I think is unfortunate. I think if you can take the time and make the effort, that shows a lot to your kid to some extent. But I do understand people making fun of the concept of it. But I think to me, I guess I'm also from a different culture. So I think like it's not that weird to me for someone to have a kid who is getting paid to learn how to play video game better. Like, I don't think to me, I don't think that's that weird.
I just think at 10 years old though, like that
was the thing that struck me. It seemed a bit young for me. And I'm just like, if they're already seeing those social pressures when they're, I guess, would that be middle school? I think that would be like right at the cusp.
10 years old, I was like 5th grade, 6th grade. I feel like as a 10-year-old, when I was a 10-year-old, I was capable of understanding, like I played video games a lot.
Oh, like, and same, but I wouldn't have gone to the point where I was just like, oh, I need to pay to get good. Like that.
Yeah, that's still the age where you can beat your kid at a video game and feel proud about it.
I would at that point I would just blame myself, and I would probably like look at things like tutorials or walkthroughs or something like that to make myself better.
You would find another way, another route to do it, but you'd still find a way. See, but like that's at least making an effort. It's a little bit different than.
And that's the whole thing. I feel like there is something that can be said about gaining the knowledge for yourself, like, getting better, playing, kind of like gauging your past performance to your future performance, and knowing that you kind of got there all on your own. I don't know, kind of feels good. It just sort of reminds me of that South Park episode where the parents all have to pay that one kid to teach them how to like find a horse in Minecraft.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know what I mean? Like this is how that feels to me. It's like, so you go and you pay a kid to teach you how to play Minecraft just so you can get your, what was it? What did they actually term it? Their investigative murder porn? I think that's what they called it. Just so they could get the code unlocked for their Comcast or their, yeah. So
but the thing is that you would be interested in like trying to help and guide your kid, whereas some people are like, I am 0% interested in playing that game at all. I have no want or like time or effort that I want to be putting into like helping my kid do this as me personally, but I can afford to have somebody else do the time and effort, right? Which, granted, is not as like good as like a mom or a dad like sitting down and playing with their kid or helping their kid. But
yeah,
I mean, I could also see why they would do that too, because if you're a parent and you don't play video games, Fortnite is going to be way too difficult to play.
Unless you've been playing since the beginning and intense. You have everything, forget about it.
Like how y'all build and shoot things, like that's a lot. There's a lot going on.
Well, yeah, I guess
Jesse's like,
yeah.
I'm just trying to be devil's advocate in it all.
I get you. I remember when Fortnite first, the Battle Royale part first came out, and I was like, this building mechanic's cute. I can't wait to see how people use it. And now I'm just like,
What?
God, I'm old.
I can't even touch it.
There's no possible way I could do the things they're doing. And I'm like, I'm fine with that. I'm fine not being ninja. It's okay. I'm all right.
What? I will say though, a building system in Fortnite, make me a builder game. Like, make me a builder game because the UI is fabulous. Like, it is so cool. I could see myself building like a house and like Sim style, like doing stuff. And I love those type of games. Do it.
That's my problem with most RTSs is that I'm just like, dude, I just want to like sit here and like build a pretty base like in StarCraft. I just want to build my stuff. Just let me build my things. Don't attack me. Go away.
Well, then Fortnite is not the game for you.
No, and I know, but I'm just saying like I totally understand, you know, the similar kind of mentality of, oh, I just want to sit here and build things. Yay. So I guess moving on, we should probably move on because we're not even halfway through news yet. This is why news is such a
we could talk about this topic for a really long time. I feel
we totally could.
It's an interesting one for sure I think everyone will have their own resolution for.
Yes. Next on my list is FOMO 3D, the cryptocurrency game with a $9 million prize pool.
$9 million?
Yeah. So is it a scam?
Yes, the answer is
cryptocurrency is kind of like a scam if you think about it in the grand scheme of things.
So it's a game of chance. Players have 24 hours to buy into the pot, and the lion's share of which goes to the last buyer to get in under the buzzer. And every time a player buys in, 30 seconds is added to the clock, which caps out at 24 hours. And so then the next buy-in will become more expensive than the previous one. But players can buy in as many times as they want, either all at once to bump up the clock or at the last possible minute to win the pot. So the very first round of this game began July 8th with no money in the pot. And as of this article, which I'm getting off of slate.com, as of that article's writing, which was August 6th at 2:40 p.m., let's see, the buy-in, there were 2 hours left on the clock at that point, and the buy-in rose from less than 49 cents to $2.22 just to buy in, and there were more than 34 million buy-ins, and the pot was worth $9 million.
Yeah, it's nuts. And I think it's dependent on how many keys you purchase, how much you'll get in return, and then if you, I don't know, it's interesting.
Yeah.
It is kind of strange.
What?
I didn't.
What?
I didn't fully.
Jesse's like, I don't understand what just happened.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so
you can
let's
buy in with these keys, and so you purchase keys that represent the amount of equity, I guess, you have in the pot, and you actually get money. You get, if I'm not mistaken, you get money back based on how much you bought in, but the whole point is to be like the last person to buy in, so you get like the lion's share of all the money that everyone's put in. If that makes any kind of sense.
All right. So basically, imagine there's 100 people, and and it first starts at like 1 penny, right? So the idea is, of those 100 people, they want to buy in at 1 penny. But person number 100 wants to be the last person to buy in, so they get all of the $1 that they would make, right?
Right.
Then the next round, another 100 people can get in, or it can be the same 100 people, but the people from the first round are already locked in. Then they already have 1 buy-in. Is that the idea? And then
I'm not sure on that front.
And then round 2, more people can get in, or those people from the first round can buy in, but the price has gone up now. And it keeps doing that. So basically the idea is of like, if you get on the ground floor, then you keep spending money every round in an attempt to be the last person, you still get more in the end. Is that how it's supposed to be?
I think that's how it works. Like, I think if you went in early and put in, and you got like a bunch of the keys, you would get more back based on like how much everyone's put in.
And then the gimmick is that at the end, in the last hour up till 24 hours, or last minute, or whatever the hell, it's going to be like an eBay auction where everyone tries to bid the last minute.
Yeah. It's like a weird ass gambling scheme.
Yeah, it's like
literally all
I was going to say,
scheme.
it seems like gambling.
And since
it's definitely, anytime you are putting money into something and you have a chance to get something back, That is gambling.
gambling.
No,
They
but you
probably
do get
meticulously
stuff
planned it though.
But you do get stuff back no matter what, because it also has this like.
Do you? They could crash their site down and you could lose all your stuff.
No, that's true. But they also have like, it's like a little like pyramid-y or Ponzi scheme-ish, where it's like,
Yeah.
if I get in the beginning, as the money goes up, I get more and more. So everyone's like, you should buy in now. You should buy in now before the price goes up. And the people who buy in later are going to fund the stuff that you bought.
Well, that's cryptocurrency as a whole. Cryptocurrency has always been, if you're an early person who gets into the cryptocurrency at the beginning before things escalate and then you cash out, right? Like that is always how it's been. You're always going to pay in cheaper at the beginning than you would at the end with cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
now they've just gamified it to make it like more.
You fight for teams and stuff too. Like you
enticing for people. Yeah, and there's like little characters. They gamified gambling with.
I'm curious how payouts work, when you get paid, what the pay schedule is, how you make, like where that money goes, because that's what really I think would be interesting to find out is what. Like,
their site loads real slow too.
Yeah, it does.
The round's over.
It creeps me out a little. I'm like,
it's in
maybe
Ethereum
because it's gotten so
as
popular?
well, but Ethereum took a huge dive. So that's the thing is that Ethereum was worth a lot more like last month, about 2/3 the way through the month, and now it's taken a huge dive, and it almost charts identically to when this thing came out and started running. I wonder why.
Salty Shunk, it's totally like a stock market, like within it's a little ecosystem like that. Totally,
like
that's
a little meta market.
Yeah, a little meta market with little characters that you're investing in. It's like Hoarder Alliance, like dude.
Yeah, no, that
pineapple
really was
on pizza or not. Like if they did that, I bet
you
there'd be even more money being put into that shit.
I was looking at like the teams. It's like Team Sneck, Team Bull. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. I'm gonna put 40 on Bull and let's go.
But yeah, I just thought that was an interesting tidbit I found in the news. I'd love to be able to show the viewers kind of like how it works and everything. But for some reason, my video window is decided that it's just not going to work for some reason or another. So I'd love to be able to show it to you guys. But unfortunately, me showing you video of things today isn't going to be part of the show because for some reason it's decided that it's just not going to work. But
you can go to the site yourself. It's pretty easy.
Yes.
FOMO 3D is the name of it?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, FOMO
FOMO 3D.
I'm right now. Shit, it be slow, but all right.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like the site loads real slow, which
I just kind of wanted to be able to show people like the process, the interface, kind of like what it looks like as you put in money and kind of what the pot looks like as it grows. But yeah, I mean, you can obviously just find that on YouTube, just Googling. There are even tutorials of like how to get started in it and whatnot. But I thought that was such an interesting thing, considering those kinds of numbers aren't usually associated with video games unless we're talking about Fortnite or the international and like big numbers in the millions. And I'm just like, wow, cryptocurrency game. Oh my.
And someone was asking what FOMO means. I think there's fear of missing out is normally what it means, like in this like weird world that we live in now where that's a thing.
The 3D version of fear of missing out.
How do you see how this work? Like I'm looking at,
except for it's not 3D, it's 2D, which is creepy.
Yeah, it just reminds me of like every modern business economic video. Like the way it looks is just like every kind of presentation you would see at like a business.
What's up, Jesse? You got this look on your face.
Looking at the website and I can't figure out. It says active pot is that round 15? I guess it hasn't started yet. I don't get this. I'm way too old to figure this shit out. I give up.
That was fast.
Yeah,
he just gave up.
I don't need to learn about it.
That was me with Fortnite right there. Jesse's experience right there. That was me loading Fortnite my first time, and I'm like, yeah, everybody has all this stuff. No, I'm out.
I was honestly like, maybe I'll investigate. Like if it's $2 to enter, I'll do a $2 entry and see what happens. I can't even figure out how to do a get on the website entry. I don't know what's going. I'm like, I give up.
Yeah, you gotta pick a team and all this
I'm
stuff.
gonna get
you gotta set up like a wallet and all this stuff so you can convert your Ethereum to keys and then you get keys. I didn't even notice this either. All the different teams, like the Sneck Whale Bull, they have like different perks.
Yeah, they get bonuses and benefits. Like I said, they're just gamifying stock marketing, basically, with cryptocurrency.
Yeah, so moving on, IGN.
I don't know what more I can say about that.
Yeah.
So IGN pulled a game review after a YouTuber came out saying that basically they had plagiarized their review.
What?
Scandal.
Oh, man.
Scandal.
So the reviews for game Dead Cells, which is out today, I believe. So the reviews press early copies and whatnot. It is an indie, so keys were probably shuffled around. So the reviews started coming out yesterday, and obviously things like Metroidvania have been well received by critics. An assessment by a reviewer on IGN drew controversy because it's very, very similar to an existing YouTube review of the game. So the YouTube channel Boomstick Gaming uploaded a 4-minute overview of Dead Cells, which is a roguelite. And he has like 16,000 followers, so relatively small-ish channel. So when you're a big site like IGN and your review is very close to a YouTuber that maybe doesn't quite have as much of a following, maybe your job could be a little bit easier. Just take their
and
impression.
It's also like that, like the person working for IGN should have like the skill set and like is being more paid to do that kind of stuff already. So why is he going to YouTube to look at reviews?
Yeah, that's the weird part. All I could really comment on as to how reviews or critiques happen is just from my own experience of watching other people do it. I know that John occasionally would go to some different sources just to see not so much facts about the game or what reviewers were saying, but more concerned about what the public was saying. Like if the game was out for early access or something, you know, what are some concerns basically that consumers would have, because he was very consumer centric in the way he would approach things. And he always hated the idea that, you know, it's not a critique, it is a first impression kind of thing with his WTF Is series. But for something like this at IGN, I would expect that you'd be hired based on a certain set of skills. And I'm not talking about like the ones from Taken, but at this point, it kind of works.
Same skills.
I'd be excited if someone at IGN had those skills. I'd be like, oh shit.
Yes. I just, I don't know. Like, is it ethical to go and look at what other reviewers are saying? Because at that point, it makes you biased.
I feel like it wouldn't be too bad if he had written like his whole thing and then went out to look at what other people were saying. Maybe he like missed something.
Right.
Because I think that would be more fair. But if it's like verbatim,
is very different. Yeah.
I think that sometimes it can be beneficial to look at other people's opinions, especially as a news site, pending what you're doing, right? I think sometimes what I would assume what a news site should be doing, which not many of them do, is looking at both spectrums. Like, you might have your opinion, but here are the 2 different spectrums, or 3 or 4, pending what the topic is, right? And being like, pulling in maybe quotes from those people who have different varying opinions, right? Being able to kind of stand in that middle ground and show kind of like all the different aspects of it. So I think like looking at other people's reviews is not the problem here. And I don't think that should ever be a problem. I think looking at other people's opinions and seeing where you lie in them, especially as a news site, like being able to be that middle ground and know what all the different spectrums are thinking is a beneficial thing for you as a reporter. Now, plagiarizing someone else and verbatim is not good. And the fact that they would take it down is kind of basically saying that they did do it.
Yeah,
or at least
they got caught in it.
Admission of guilt right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
there was definitely some catching in it. I'll just go over a bit of an example. The YouTuber had brought out like a couple specific examples, and this was reported by a third party basically. So I'm getting this off The Verge, just putting it out there so that way it's not so much me relying on what the YouTuber said, it's not me relying on what IGN has said. I'm going to a third party site to see what both sides are saying. But
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yes.
Being able to do that is not a bad thing. Like, as a reporter, you should never feel that is a bad thing. That is good journalism,
But being a reporter versus being a critic are 2 different things. I just making that very clear. So at basically 15 seconds of the review, the YouTuber says, in Dead Cells, you will need to kill your way through a labyrinth of levels, all punctuated by boss encounters that starts off quite linear, but the more you play, the more routes and game mechanics open up to you. You might not be able to make it to the final boss on your current run, but you can manage to salvage some blueprints for some new gear, or better yet, an ability-altering rune. It makes it all worth your while. Now, at IGN, basically at 25 seconds, so there's a 10-second difference in the pacing of the review. In IGN, it says, in Dead Cells, you fight your way through an ever-changing labyrinth of levels with branching paths. You're almost guaranteed not to make it all the way through on every run, but as your efforts lead you to blueprints that unlock new gear, it makes it all worth your while. So, I mean,
just a little splash of flavor text, kind of.
So first off, this is as not only a person who taught, but as a person who definitely cheated on some papers and
ooh, but your mama's watching, Jesse.
Oh, I'm sure she's aware.
Wow.
She's like, yeah, no, that sounds like my son. Yeah, the way you would plagiarize wasn't to directly copy it. That's stupid. You literally then put your own words into it. Like, it takes time, but you're also not an idiot and don't want to get caught. Dummies. I would catch my own students that way. I'm like, y'all, I was doing this before you were even born, right? Like, it's an easy, it's just a thing that happens that you can do. But the syntax and the way you write and the way, like, that can easily be discovered. People can find you out so quickly if they want to. The thing here, and I just want to put this out there, are we even sure that this reviewer played said game? Because I feel like this is one of those cases where it was like, you had an assignment and you didn't do that assignment and you have got one day to turn that paper in and you're like, oh, fuck. To me, this is like a book report that you did not read.
Yeah,
right?
I was going to say that.
What I was wondering is, I'd like to know what the press release looked like, because as a critic, normally people will send you like a press release with early access keys and things like that, and so that way you can play the game. And they'll have little snippets and little bits of things that they want you to cover. Now you choose to cover whatever you want, but some people will just use those things or even use the footage that is stock footage provided for you. Like, you don't even have to play the game to be a critic, is the craziest thing about it all. You know, not talking smack about anybody.
Oh my God! You, as someone who gets press releases all the time,
but I used to work for
that's what I'm doing. I'm going through my Gmail
we always
now
played the game,
look.
but I'm just saying, like, you could definitely not if
that's what I'm saying. Like, as someone who gets press releases all the time, I'll see news outlets verbatim post the press release.
Yeah,
so you're just like,
the way that both of them worded it very much like the stock review stuff you would get in an email. Even the original is what we're saying, was the YouTuber, right?
Yeah, it's just.
And again, I don't watch that person's content, so I don't know. Like, maybe that is how they speak normally. I don't know.
So I have the press release. I have the mailer that went out to
people. Yeah, read us the press release.
The press release is, Dead Cells is a roguelike Castlevania-inspired action platformer, allowing you to explore a sprawling, ever-changing castle, assuming you are able to fight your way past its keepers. So, and then it goes into some more stuff, but nothing really, like, hitting it in any way close.
It's not just like a copy paste.
Yeah. The only word I think that has been mimicked is ever changing. That's the only word I can really find from the press release feeler that was put out to everyone. Well, at least I got that one.
I feel like that's one of those things where
that's nice that Jenna's just like, I happen to have this press release. Let me look it up.
Yes.
No, that's perfect, because that's where my mind went immediately. Was like,
no,
what was
and
the
I agree.
Press release? Right.
And that would have been a good defense for them if we could have made that happen. But
it also it's not. That's a word choice that it's one of those things where you're looking for the right word to describe a thing, and the PR people already came up with it. So you're like, we'll use that because it just is easier, and you don't have to get like, I'm going to write a thesaurus about this shit. I think it's just, that's why you see that a lot. And you see those like, oh yeah, this sounds like that. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that, even giving benefit of the doubt to the actual reporter from IGN, to me it seems like it was because this happens all the time. This is one of the biggest issues that I think a lot of websites, especially gaming news related websites and review sites, the problem they have is that they are under the pressure to get something out on day of launch.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times they have people play games. Look, I don't think it's any secret. There's a lot of people who do reviews who play like a fourth of the game and then write a review about the game they played. So I don't see how. I see it can be a possible stretch that someone didn't play a game and bullshit a review, because that I guarantee that shit's happened before. But I feel like it's the first time someone's been caught so blatantly. So
I don't want to speak on behalf of the person who wrote it, because obviously I don't know the full entire story. There are chances, like a very small probability, but there are chances that you could write the exact same thing or say almost verbatim what someone else says. Very rarely. Yeah. So I'm curious to see what IGN does with this and how they're going to handle it, because as a company, I know that like our PR team is always like, okay, how do we handle a crisis situation? Not that this is like a crisis, but like in general, those type of things are for a company. So I'm curious what will happen from that. And do you guys think that the proper thing was to take down the article immediately like they did?
I mean, welcome to the day and age of which everything's damage control. So from their perspective, from IGN's perspective, removing the article so that they weren't flooded with literally just an article page filled with a million comments about how awful IGN is their best move, like politically, air quotes. But I feel like
but they would have got a lot more people on the site if they just left it up, probably, because then people would be like, wait, what?
Yeah. And they did. They left
I'm gonna go check it out.
They left it for about a day, and there was
people screenshotted it already and took it. Yes. So I'm wondering if there are things going down with that now that are going down behind the scenes, right?
I'm sure there is. There were 119,000 views and hundreds of enraged comments on the IGN site prior to
that might be one of the best articles they've like traffic-wise they've had in a while. So
the one thing that I will say is that I saw, I want to say it was Danny O'Dwyer actually might have posted this on Twitter earlier today, something about how the IGN scandal at least made him want to play Dead Cells, whereas an indie game like Dead Cells might not get as much attention. There are people who are definitely going to want to play it now because of the controversy. No PR is bad PR kind of thing.
So
I guess it's working. At least it's working.
It's not inherently bad for the game.
The game. That's what I'm saying.
At least it didn't hinder the game, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, think about all of the YouTube scandals we've had over the years and how in most of those cases, those people came out the other end with more subscribers.
Yep.
Sure.
Which is so crazy to me.
About that.
The statement from IGN that was released that was put in place of where the review once was is, as a group of writers and creators who value our own work and that of others in our field, the editorial staff of IGN takes plagiarism very seriously. In light of concerns that have been raised about our Dead Cells review, we've removed it for the time being and are investigating. So they are giving the appearance that they're being, investigative. That
I think that's the proper way to go about it. Sometimes companies will take immediate action versus taking a moment to not freak out and like really do their own research, because firing somebody or letting someone go just because people are yelling about it doesn't necessarily mean that what they're yelling about is true. So really taking their time and looking at both reviews and really dissecting it and making sure that person didn't digest or didn't plagiarize it. And I think someone in chat was talking about this and talking about Jesse's point, which is like the stress on reviewers and critics, because we get I mean,
so
I
many games.
So we get that information, you get it so fast, and you have to like play the game and like do it all in one day, and then also put out a video that's like, consumable for the audience and covers all of the topics. Like that's really, really intense work, but it doesn't excuse someone plagiarizing.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at the time too of the videos. I think each of them were only like 3.5, 4 minutes long. So it's like you're really condensing a lot of information about the game into a really small amount of time. So there's gonna be some layover there, I think. But then it was like a little too like it was structured in the exact same way.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was the issue for me too when I looked at the two different pieces separately, is I was like, you're just a little too on the nose for that one. I just wanted to read the statement that Boomstick put out. This is the guy who made the YouTube video initially. I would like to be cited, collaborated, and compensated for the healthy ad revenue that they pulled in on both their written review and video review. I've been doing YouTube since 2006 as a hobby and have found somewhat of a following recently. And a few months ago, I started a Patreon that attempts to help me to continue what I enjoy doing.
Support that kid. Go show him some love.
So that was the guy who posted the YouTube review of the game initially. So again, it is
his review was so good. The IGN stole it. That's what his tagline.
That should be his new tagline right there. Review so good.
After
IGN
the research that's what happens. Like,
IGN should just hire him.
That seems pretty bold, though. Like,
oh man, that would right.
The fact that he demands their ad revenue, though,
yeah,
I thought that was a bit shocking.
That's a little. I think that's going a little in the other direction for me.
I feel like he got worked up. Like he saw the reaction. He's like,
let's do it. I'm in. I'm all in on this one.
Because even though IGN is far from perfect, every time that they've ever interacted or approached me with like, hey, this video you made, this Let's Play, can we use a clip of this? They always like come to me and ask. So I think like it might have to do with numbers on their end. Like, well, we can't steal from. I don't know the rules over there, but they've always been like really polite about using footage. So I'm very curious what the response to this is going to be and where it's going to go.
I think using footage is different than like words.
Right. But like legally, they haven't like stolen shit. And I like saw a video and was like, what? That's my stuff, right? They haven't done that, and they usually throw you a credit, which I'm fine with. It's just like a weird. Yeah, I want to know where this goes because I definitely think it is something.
It's one of those things that you shall follow up on because it's an interesting topic. Because I think that as creators, we are always like nonstop going forward, making stuff, right? And I think, raise your hands here, how many of you have had somebody like legit just repost your video onto their YouTube channel?
Can I tell you something?
Multiple times.
I thought that was happening all the time. I was like, this must be the thing that happens all the time. YouTube, now you have the ability to go on there. There's a channel copyright thing where you as a channel can flag other channels for using your shit. So I went on there. I was like, all right, let's see who's stealing my shit.
No one.
Literally, not only is it no one, there's one video that has been stolen, air quotes, about 300 times. And that is a Retsu Prey video with some of my footage in it that's been reposted all over the world. No one's stealing no one gives a fuck about my shit. It's that one video. People keep stealing it. I'm like, have it. You can have that. I don't even care.
I'm still getting copyright claims from videos that happened like 10 years ago on Shining Force 3 playthroughs.
Oh my God.
Some guy literally counterclaimed. Well, I had, they claimed it on mine. I counterclaimed it, and now YouTube give them like your email address and all sorts of stuff. And he contacted me, and he's just like, I'm so sick and tired of everybody like using my intro to Shining Force 3, this specific battle. I'm not going to stand for it. You either take that video down, you delete it, blah, 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 blah. I got the email yesterday that came through that basically said my counterclaim went through. It's called lawyers.
Yeah,
and you were wrong. It wasn't your video. Everybody can play through that game if they want.
Yeah. Some people take it a little bit too much, but yeah, I think that YouTube's policy for how they handle it is not good. Giving the person your information has to be against GDPR now. It has to be like that's without your permission.
It's the whole
like
entire
information
ball in the court of the person who's like filing the claim and not the person who originally had it. So it's a little weird. I mean, I've had the problems with people just like translating my videos into different languages and like just like completely taking even just the footage and then just translating it. All the editing jokes and everything are still a part of the original video. That was like a big thing for me last year. And so I'm glad that they have this new thing now but I don't know if it's like it works the same way as like the copyright claim stuff, or if it's just you can ask them politely to, hey, I know you took it.
It's the exact same way as copyright claim.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
It like says
because not everyone has access to that yet.
This is their shit, fool. Yeah, I went through there because I was like, I want to see who's taking my stuff. No one with me.
Are you like offended?
No one's accusing me of like you stole our music. I'm like, what are you talking about? I just played a video game. Yeah. Story of my life.
I think it depends on the type of content that you're making, right? Because like I feel like from a company standpoint, sometimes you're like okay with somebody taking some of your content that you're using to create their own content, because in that standpoint you're like, yes, content creators, go ahead, utilize the information that we're providing to create some of your content. But I think that in some cases, I mean, especially personal people who are like making personal YouTube content, it's just don't do that. Always ask somebody before, because most often people like Jesse, like you've given a good example, they will just say yes.
Yeah, 99% of the time.
And not even charge you. They'll just be like, sure, give me credit.
Yeah, I'm just like, sure, whatever, just give me a link or some shit, because I already put it out there, and it's usually on videos that are like 8 years old that I'm like,
you've already made the money off of it.
Someone's gonna watch that shit. Have fun.
Yeah. And if nothing else, it'll reference back to your original video, and maybe you'll get more watches on it as a result. So yeah, I totally understand that.
And to bring it back full circle about the kid wanting, I say kid, this fellow wanting part of the ad revenue, I don't fault him for that. I mean,
no, but the wording seemed a bit. But then again, if someone had just stolen something from you, you would probably have that kind of wording.
An emotional,
right.
Yeah.
It seems an emotional response that probably was egged on by the internet in some way, where he was like, I am going to make a bold statement about this, which is fine.
I imagine it being his voice like that too.
Yes, but just don't overplay your hand. Like there's some worlds in which having a moral victory is fine. Like just, you're gonna get subscribers and shit from this. Enjoy.
Well, yeah, I think someone in chat like a while back already said that his subscriber count like has already like doubled from all the exposure or something. I don't know if that's true, but I wouldn't doubt it either. Especially since IGN is so big, like if they really did screw over like a really small creator, then.
And I mean, I feel like that's something that happens a lot to small creators. But if you aren't in the space really like looking out for yourself, it is really hard because you won't see that someone else is plagiarizing your work. So,
but even if you did, being able to shout loud enough is difficult when your channel is that small. It would be different if you were, I don't know, like PewDiePie or something, and somebody stole your video. It's like, one, why would you steal that video? Two, it would be extremely noticeable, and even if it was only noticeable to him, he'd be able to stamp his feet loud enough and get more media behind him over the situation, whereas a smaller YouTuber doesn't always have that same kind of clout. So I'm just glad that, even having as small of an audience as this guy did, he did stamp his feet and got enough press and whatnot behind him to validate the concerns, at least to the point where IGN are going to investigate further.
Yeah, I think IGN handled it really well. They took their time with it. They put out a statement, and they're taking time to research and see what it is. Now, hopefully, they figure out what actually happened, and people are accountable for what they did or didn't do. Right.
Yeah. All right. Next in news. Teenager goes missing after Discord interaction. I decided to bring up some local news. This isn't local for me. This actually happened in Chicago. I was kind of thinking
home ground. That's where my family is.
I was thinking that we might end up having like Krendor on like last minute or something. I'd be like, Krendor, guess what happened? Just down the street. No, not just down the street.
Now we got to bring Jesse's Chilluminati into this. What happened to the kid?
Okay, so the kid is actually from Mississippi. And he resurfaced in Illinois just recently after 4 days of missing. What? He's 14 years old, and he turned himself in to a fire station in Illinois after being missing, 4 days because he saw a post on social media about him being a missing person. He was just talking to somebody on Discord, and, once again, we talk about the cautions of being, I guess, trusting anybody. This is the world of the internet. Don't trust strangers just because you play games with them doesn't mean that they're entirely your friend and not out to get you or something.
Krendor, stop kidnapping people. I know this is a super serious imagining. Now I'm like, well, what would it be like if Krendor tried to kidnap someone?
It would be the laziest. He'd be like, will you please get in the car?
I have a cat. Just get in the. I'll let you pet it.
Opens the car door and just waits for you. Come on, I'm kidnapping you.
In his sloth pants, and he's got like at least a 2-pack person thing from IKEA that he needs your help building a Hemness, and it's got the power team, icon on it, so you need a friend to help you like hold it up while you bolt it to the wall and things. Krendor's like, wow, I need another person. Let's drive to Mississippi.
I would have to kidnap someone.
I don't think Krendor would go through the trouble of driving to Mississippi to kidnap.
No, he would not.
We're gonna turn this topic.
Maybe if there was an IKEA there, he might go. Right? It'd be like a vacation to go see a new IKEA.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sorry. Go back to the actual serious topic. I'm sorry.
I just having a 15-year-old, this kind of made me wince a little when I read it, because I'm just going through random news. I don't really care so much if it's local or national news. I just look at general gaming news. I'm like, what is interesting? And the fact that a 14-year-old goes missing after an interaction on Discord kind of stuck with me a little bit, because that's basically the platform of choice for my kid. So
Sure.
he doesn't, I can't convince him to use Skype or anything like that. So I had to get Discord, and now I have it like on my phone and my computer and things. And it's just like, I don't use it to talk to anybody except my kid who
I use
is
it
in
for
my
everything.
own house.
All my stuff is on Discord. The only people that are these people here.
We're the outsiders, we're the outliers.
You
No.
old people. No, just kidding.
I mean, I have a Discord. I'll connect with you on Discord if you want, Maggie. I didn't think much of it.
That's probably much faster than.
I just thought this is what the kids are using, because it's like Snapchat. I don't use Snapchat. I don't quite understand. I mean, I do understand the concept of it. I understand why it's popular, but it holds no interest for me. So I just kind of thought it was one of those kind of things where I'm like, Discord kind of does the same thing.
No, I think
Skype
Discord's
does,
actually a great platform.
You get to find
a shout out to them.
gaming.
I am a Discord partner, so I might be semi-biased, but it's not like they
So
pay me
am I.
anything. They just have a server. I think that it's a great product. I love having it on my phone, as well as, it has a web version of it and an app. So it's like, it works out great for all the things that I need it for.
If you've seen the new Skype, Discord is the best option right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, new Skype is kind of cringy.
Today's the first day I've seen the new Skype, and I was just like, oh.
Hot garbage. Thank goodness we're not sponsored by Microsoft.
Although Microsoft, if you want to, have you heard about new Skype, guys? It's really good.
New Skype.
Just starts crying.
So
so what happened with the kid? So he turned himself in after
at a fire
4
station,
days.
After 4 days. And
What was his excuse? What happened?
Yeah,
he had been
escape his captor and
I
like
know,
turn
right?
himself in.
The only thing that the news story says, I imagine they're probably like protecting a lot of information, maybe just so that way speculation isn't, centered around this kid, because obviously, school's starting back soon. If anything sordid or whatever did happen, they're not mentioning it.
Yeah.
But basically, it just said that his parents told a local news outlet that the kid had left after he made plans to meet someone in person who he contacted using the application Discord, and then somehow just turned up in Chicago. And the kid
no matter
himself,
who you are, whether you are a child or an adult, if you leave anywhere to go anywhere, tell someone. Jeez Louise.
Well, I mean, I guess the consideration here is if the other person that he was meeting was over the age of 18, it's technically a felony, because it's kidnapping. Taking a minor across state lines is a felony in most states. So, I mean, I just think it's weird that it says that the dad was like, yeah, my son turned himself in after seeing social media posts about his disappearance. So it's like, hey, I made it on like Facebook. People are posting that I'm missing. I'm going to go turn myself in so I can make the news again. I mean, that's just the way that the article kind of read. And I'm just like, that's not the right message. No, that's not the message that you should be putting out there for other people. It's like,
this comes all back to, I fear, I've talked about it to my community too. I'm like, I'm planning perhaps to have kids in like 2 to 3 years. And I think that my thing is like,
Maggie.
It's horrifying. Yeah, I know, little tiny Maggie's going around. That sounds horrifying to me.
No, I don't mean that part. I just mean, I can't, I'm glad mine is as old as he is right now. Because if I was a new mom right now in this year, like with Brooke, or in the next couple of years, like with you, I just don't know if I would have the fortitude to stand it or to accept it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd be so unprepared.
To me, it's like there's so many platforms for people to connect to people, which I think is one of the things that I think is amazing about the internet. I mean, I was the kid who just never had friends, didn't have a social. I was like awkward AF. Like I'm the straight A kid who was like 4.5 average, like got out of high school 3.5 years because I was that kid. So I had like no social, I still am awkward as fuck. Jesse knows.
What? Yeah.
Nah. No.
But I think what helped me get better at my social interactions was people on the internet and being able to like meet my guild and clan mates from all the games that I played and having that experience. So I also have like big gratitude to the fact that the internet has allowed me to have a platform to grow and become a better person. But I also am horrified by the fact that young kids have access to adults who can alter their minds.
There's two things to this tale of Maggie's life. One, I guarantee when she met people online, there wasn't like you met people at a convention, or you met them where it was a group of you and it was like a safer space and you could get to know.
Yeah, I didn't go alone.
Right. Yeah. Like you got to know people and stuff. And I think the biggest crazy thing that people forget all the time, because I don't know why, human nature, is that the internet, spoiler, I'm about to blow minds.
Oh man.
Exists in a way that people share with you only what they want you to see. And so the vast majority of people, be it a selfie or like one of those pictures where it's like just resting today and they're sleeping, you're like, well, how the fuck they take that
Who's
picture?
taking the photo?
Yeah, like it's all bullshit. Everyone's doing this stuff because that's what they want you to see about their life. And you don't actually know anyone online, really. So I think a lot of kids feel like if they know you on some sort of emotional level, they
idolize you. They learn they know more about you than you know about you. They'll look at things in the background of your video from 20 years ago and be like, I saw that thing back there. You did do the thing. And you're like, what?
And I feel like a lot of, especially, this is something that I having played WoW for as long as I have, I remember back in the day, like, people falling in love in the guild, and you're just like, well, this should turn out interesting.
And in those situations, we didn't have voice. All you had was talking, typing.
It was just communicating with a person, and I'm
clearly that person playing a girl avatar is really a girl, but girls don't exist on the internet.
Yeah. Oh my God. The people back in the day who would rip people off, like, yeah, no, I'm totally a girl. Give me that.
Give me your gear.
Like,
let me roll. I need to roll need on this.
Yeah. You don't know everything there is to know about a person online. It's impossible until you spend time with them in physical presence. You don't know. And I feel like a lot of people who don't have that sort of physical interaction with someone, especially that they are interested romantically in, a lot of that is like, that's a driving force to get your ass out of the house.
Yeah, Jesse, you can't scam us anymore. We know you're a dude.
The beard is just a little bit of a giveaway.
CG. This is I'm actually a hamster in a wheel right now, and I am scamming everyone.
He's playing FOMO 3D right now, scamming everyone.
I mean, I'm not even present. This is all an algorithm. Yeah, no, I think people forget, and so a lot of the time, especially young kids, get caught up in like, this seems to me like this was a person, like, you don't go across the country to see someone, especially at 15, you're not like trying to smooch. That's just happening. Yeah. That's just happening. And I
don't know. Some of us weren't gonna get smooching at 14.
Well, look, I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean, there ulterior things are happening. Like, maybe the kid has a crappy home life. Maybe he's rebelling against his parents. Maybe, he just wanted to get away for a while.
There.
Yes.
And more importantly, not to tell anyone.
Right.
Which is one of those things where it's either everything from...
Anytime someone tells you not to tell anyone, that should be like, alarms going off. Like
it could be this kid not wanting to share. It could be the kid.
That's what I mean. It could actually be the kid being like, "Hey, you live over here. Come get me, and I'll come with you because I need to get out of here because my parents are driving me crazy." You know, I could totally see that happening.
But it definitely,
it's end up in another state though, or do you think that he just was like, "Let's hang out," and then suddenly he was like a couple states away?
There's another layer of complexity more than just, "Hey, let's go meet at the mall because we're local."
Yeah.
This is like
This is like a whole nother level. Like if my kid disappeared and then showed up in like another state, I'm also a crazy person, so I would be like, what the fuck did you just do to my kid? Like, you know, like I would want to know all the details. And obviously for the kid's privacy, I totally understand not sharing that with like the public, but now I'm curious. Now I want to know.
I know, right?
Drama llama.
Yeah. Who knows what the actual
bringing it back to
like
Fortnite
this are, but it's one of those things where you can understand how it happens because that shit happens all the time on the internet. People get caught up in, be it emotional or romantic or whatever sort of relationships with people that in the end they don't necessarily know, but they fabricated it in their mind where they're like, I'm going to go meet this person across the country because like it's my destiny to do so. And that shit happens, man.
That sounds like something Jesse would do.
Oh my God. No, I've never done that, but I have done crazy shit. Yeah. But I haven't
What I will say is that the police department that was responsible in the area say that the case is still open. So
there's got to be more to it.
There probably will be more talked about it. I thought that was just a very unusual sort of thing, especially, I mean, Discord even like made a statement like, you know, obviously this is what you should do, this is how you protect your safety, your privacy and whatnot, because obviously Discord
it's not on Discord to be the fault for that. Right,
they just reached out to them for comment.
Once you get on one-on-one conversations, you can't really monitor that. Like I could be like, in my Discord, no one's allowed to post any personal information, but as soon as they just start talking to each other off the Discord, then it's just like, what am I supposed to do about that?
And there's, at the end of the day, there truly isn't anything you can, if a person really wants to go be somewhere bad enough, there's nothing you can do to stop them. Like it's impossible. And so you just have to accept like shit like this happens on the internet all the time. And sometimes great things come from it. And sometimes terrible things come from it. And
I think the thing to come back from that though, I think what you're saying is yes, but at the same time, this is a child. This is
absolutely.
That's the part to me that is like,
if there, this is what I would say.
How as a parent do I stop? How as a parent do I get involved? This is maybe I won't have kids in 2 or 3 years. How as a parent do I get involved to the point where like I'm not snooping on my kid to see that he's going to visit some other person in another state, but also still be there enough to be like, this is not the right, like you don't do this thing, right? Like how what's that balance?
What we were doing earlier, which is the idea that like, as a parent, it should be your like, oh, my child is into this game. I'm gonna find about this game. My child's using Discord. Let me figure out what Discord is. Like, just being involved and not.
I know what Discord is, but I don't think like unless I'm snooping on my kid, how would I know that my kid is talking to somebody and planning to go visit them?
Because the real trick is in the process to your kid reaching 15, being the parent enough where you've laid the groundwork and foundation of like, hey, it's not cool to go run away and not tell me where you're going. And it's not cool to meet a stranger online. Like all the shit
so you're saying this goes back to the kid.
This goes back to parenting when this kid was like 7. This is like, there's more going on here than just a 15-year-old. Like there's years of work that should have been done on a parent level to like help.
And I'm not a parent. So I mean, I have raised my younger brother, but like, it's not the same. So I don't know. I don't think you can always blame the parent because I have like seeing my little brother grow up and knowing the shit he did. I never ever told him to act that way or behave that way, and I have always impressed upon him to be respectful to other people.
There's some things you'll never be able to. Like, some people just shit happens to some people. Like that's just life.
Yeah, but like.
Oh, sorry. I just Jeff, what were you gonna say? You were.
Oh no, I was just like thinking like maybe he just legitimately never learned that lesson of like don't tell your parents where to go or like tell them what they're up to and they just made all these assumptions that's like, oh, if he did something like that they would tell me, and then he just didn't, and that was the first time he really went out
Or it's the other way. Or it's
the other way.
Before, and the parents overreacted in such a negative way that he never told them anything ever again. Because he was afraid that the reaction would be like, I'm not going to tell. Trust me, there's like, I get that mentality. There's some things I'll just be like, look, I'm never going to tell my parents this. Because like, when I was younger, they'd be like, you're grounded, mister. And I was like, well, I don't want to fucking get grounded again. So like,
I'm not telling you nothing.
Yeah, like I understand that mentality. That was me all through high school. I was like, I ain't telling you shit because I'm not getting grounded, right? Like that's just...
The curious thing for me about this specific story is I've researched several different sources about the story, and almost every site has a different sort of spin on it, but they all seem to be going the same way. So just as an example, one of the news sites says...
Jesse's mom. Sorry.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Love you.
One of the sites says Predator used video game messaging app to lure teen who went missing. So, but yet the body of the article actually never says that this person is a predator, that this person forced the kid to journey with him to several different states. It doesn't say anything like that. So it's just literally the headline, which I think is really misleading. And again, it could be true.
They would put. It's just like, it's like the same spin they would put on, what was that, for like the original DS, you had that like chat picture service thing. It's like the same spin they would put on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think as news articles, what was I saying?
News articles. Tell me more. Tell me more. This is obviously more. This is obviously more important than any news we're discussing.
News articles are always going to try to like gain more viewership out of it, right? So they'll take a spin on it to get whatever they think is going to give.
I was just surprised by the sheer amount. So, for example, this next source, which is Fox 2, and has Fox attached to it, so missing teen lured away by video game chat resurfaces in Illinois. And then, I mean, most of them seem to go the same way, but one of them literally goes all out and is like Predator lures this person out. And the one thing
legally,
I was laughing...
I can say that because it technically, as a 15-year-old, like...
If the other person's overage, but they never mention that.
I guess
kid could have been
right.
16
we don't know
and
that fact.
driving a car. Yeah. We don't know. But
we don't know any of the details. We just know kid talked to person. Kid in person ended up in another state.
Yeah.
And kid turned himself in. Like that's the facts.
The article that actually has the most...
by the way.
Where? Huh? When?
What time frame did this take place in?
Okay, so here's the rub. This is the article that I found that has the most actual information. So I think they actually did an interview with the family. So Northwest Mississippi teenager. Let's see, 14 years old. His parents did do an interview with them. The teen's sister, this is kind of how it all started. The teen's sister said that he was in his room Tuesday night chatting with someone on Discord. The next morning, his window was open and his wallet, his phone, and phone charger were gone. So I'm just thinking,
what day was this? What month was this?
This was recent. Yeah. August the 7th is when the article came out. So it would have been that Tuesday. So, yeah, the article came out today about
August
him resurfacing.
August the 7th is today, as we're recording this.
Yeah,
so it would have been a week ago is what you're saying?
Yeah, it would have been a week ago, yeah.
All right, never mind. I was like, where does this kid have all his damn free time? But I guess it is summer, so...
Yeah, school's not back in yet for...
Yeah, not yet.
But, the parents said that they knew nothing about the app, and the sister was just like... Well, yeah, all I know is that if you like a TV show or something, you just go and you type in the TV show that you like, and all of a sudden you're chatting to all these people and things. So, she
has like a weird interpretation of what Discord is.
Right. But I mean, and that just kind of showcases, and it
showcases the fact that the parents are not involved in this kid's life, enough and not even the sister what he has on his computer. So.
Right, and not even the sister.
Maybe they're not tech savvy.
And that's another point that I'd kind of like to make a bit in the ye old South, if you can call it that. I'm in North Carolina, the South. It's humid enough.
I used to live in Alabama, so.
Alabama, yeah.
Alabama.
In the South, things are a bit backwards. I mean, I don't know how it is that we get them rocket ships up into space, but somehow it happens. Not anymore, but it used to.
Because the Earth is flat, it's just easier. The trajectory. I mean,
calculating launch time windows. What? No.
Yeah. No, you just shoot it straight up. And you're fine.
Yeah, it's all right. We'll let Elon cover it and let them handle it out west. More technologically savvy. But yeah, here it is a bit backwards. I actually had a neighbor call me this morning. Literally call me, not text me, not email, nothing digital.
You had to talk to a person? I feel for you.
Me,
oh, I'm so sorry.
Called me and was like, I need some help with something called port forwarding. Do you know things about that?
Are you that mom? Are you that community mom where they're like,
I am.
Shug, I'll make some tea and you come over and tell me about port forwarding?
I'm the one who made the HOA website because they couldn't figure out how to make an HOA website. Well, they did actually have one, but they were paying out the wazoo for it, for hosting and everything. And there's not even like a lot of data moving around, so they didn't even need that big of a hosting package. They were just clueless. They had no idea.
Right.
The South has it really interesting. Like when I lived in Alabama, we had like this community was like all of the houses in this community, and we all were like they did things together. Like they had,
and
really
we do too.
The first week we moved in, like third day, someone knocks on the door, and my boyfriend answers the door because I'm at work, and is like, "Oh, is the lady of the house there?" And he's like, "No, she's at work." And then she's like, "Oh, well, I'll come back when she's back." And it's like,
can't even talk to you.
Yeah, she wouldn't even talk to him. And then
maybe she thought, oh my God, she probably
and
thought
it's an
that he was your
to come
son.
to their house, and it's like ladies of the lake is what they called them.
Oh no!
I was like, am I going to be part of a cult? What is happening? But it was just a bunch of old ladies like sitting there knitting, playing like dice games. Like it was.
But it's a secret.
But not 20-sided dice games.
Not 20-sided dice.
Man,
I would love to be a part. Maggie, you're in. You are.
I know. Well, it was when I lived in Alabama. I don't live there anymore. But it was an interesting interaction that I was like, this is an actual thing that people do.
I dream about the day when we have like an old lady D&D, like a D&D cult, like not just a D&D, advanced.
Dude, Jenna and I, like, we're gonna be like 80, 90. All right, it's your turn to roll the dice.
It's like my hip's not doing so well. Can I cast a repair hip spell? Please, Mr. Dungeon Master, I need this to happen for me.
So the character you're playing in this scenario is also like reflective of your age? Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's some terrible character creation.
I only play myself. What do I...
we didn't have time to come up with proper character sheets, okay? I didn't have time.
Yeah, this is the scenario where they're roping in all the other old ladies at the area, and they're like, we're going to keep it simple for today. Just play yourself.
Just play yourself,
and we'll roll the dice.
Standpoint. Oh my God, that'd be hilarious.
There'd be another level to it. Like we would Inception the hell out of this. It would be a case of we are playing AD&D, but our characters are actually playing like whist or some junk. You know, it's like let's play bridge, darling. Let's you and me. You pour the iced tea and you play north, all right? And I'll get the two ladies from next door. Let me get them up on the Discord and see if they want to come over.
Yeah, we're still using Discord.
There's nothing new.
I'll be right over. It's only gonna take me. Well, Charles said he'd be home.
But my son's coming in from college, so I need to be back before he gets home because I only see him like once a year.
But I like how you're both in the South, though. Whatever's going on here,
yeah.
still both Southern damsels.
Oh, like, I'm sorry. I didn't explain this.
Mint juleps.
This is Advanced Dungeons
in Illinois. I'm a country folk from the North.
Same. I'm from Ohio, so we do this. But at the same time, I should have put it out there that this is Advanced Dungeons and Dragons featuring Steel Magnolias. Okay.
Right.
So
right.
I forgot. I need to preface this.
Of course.
I get to be Dolly.
I don't know what's happening anymore. I'm sorry. I hope that becomes an animated version and they make like
my gosh,
old people versions of it.
Julian, please.
Meanwhile, Jeff and Jesse are just standing back there like, what the hell is going
No way. I want in. I want to be an old damsel with like, a Southern belle. Like, welcome to my home, ladies. I've got so many dice to choose from. Charles, bring the dice, please.
I like how we all have Charles. Charles is just part of all of our lives.
Everyone has a Charles.
Everybody.
Everybody. Yeah, everyone has a Charles.
But would we be streaming
Charles
it?
is
This
really
the
just a
thing.
dog.
The stream would be very interesting. Like the stream could only be viewed in black and white. Like we'd have it monochrome. You know, you could only watch
like
it.
an overlay film grain effect.
Yes,
like for the whole
static
stream.
and everything.
There's no dialogue, just text appears on the screen after we're done talking.
Oh, silent movie. Okay,
Yeah,
that'd work out too.
And then we all chase a train or something afterwards, and it's sped up really fast. We're like, yeah,
Oh,
it'd be great.
man.
Role playing,
like-
right?
Sounds like
Role-playing is great. Yeah.
So excited.
it's like Vampire the Masquerade, but instead the Dark Ages actually, except the Dark Ages, the South, the Dark Ages.
I was envisioning like Fallout style.
I was just gonna say it's
when you guys were
like-
going into that,
it's
I was like,
Fallout West Virginia.
like the dog is actually a robot dog and can actually go get us anything we need.
Lassie.
Frankly, my dear. Oh my God. We got this. This is fine.
Yeah, Gone with the Wind,
I will
AD&D.
become
We
a
could
Southern
do
What I
Belle.
want to know
that.
is what would Jeff be playing in all of this?
Charles.
What role on Charles?
You Charles the
I
dog,
No.
the robot dog.
Charles.
Only if Charles was
And I'm
in
just as
charge
old as
would that
everyone else,
happen that
so
way.
I'm just like I got like a little wheelie thing. I like come in, drop off your guys' dice bags in front of you, like wheel away.
But you're still a dog. You're still just a dog in a
Oh
wheelchair.
yeah, I'm still brain transplant into like
Yeah.
a robot dog.
But Maggie, I gotta show you this thing that I'm knitting. Come on, Jeff, bring me the bag of holding.
The back of
Jeff brings it in on a big trolley and folds it up inside of itself, and he just poof disappears. Oh,
No, dude, you can stay in a bag of holding for a little bit and still live.
right. And I think that he would use that to escape from us because we would be that horrible.
He's like like we've captured him and made him into a cyborg dog, and he's just like, one of these
Like all I can
days
say is
will
like a
escape."
monotone woof woof, and then it like translates like my whole thing.
I am plotting the demise of these human folk. They seem slow. Perhaps next year I will be able to escape.
Is he writing? No, Maggie. Maggie, if this is in the South, we have to do this correctly.
Oh, man.
Start over again. I'll be your background music.
Go, Maggie. Scene.
I have been in this home.
No, you're doing it wrong. You have to be like,
What?
Father.
He's like a robot dog.
Father, it's been ever so long since I've written you. But
Oh,
I
he's got like a family.
northern aggression ends. These days
Oh,
I shall be.
he's
This
gone
has
full
gotten, like,
Scarlet. Full
overly
Scarlet.
complicated now.
Yeah.
No, we're not. Okay, fine. You
Because my
This
family
is like I'm really
members,
getting
my
into this,
family's
okay?
robot dogs now. Am I
you
like
make your own
writing-
documentary of the Robot Dog Rebellion. That's fine.
He's the robot dog, though. He should get to decide what
No,
his rebellion is.
Decide what the robot dog sounded like because it's a documentary. It's not live. Maggie, come on, work with
No,
me
I thought this
here.
was all like on Twitch still. Like we're all
Yeah.
like,
This is
still
a Ken
just
Burns
This is
documentary.
real life, Jeff. Okay,
is
this is a
real, yeah.
real life scenario that is gonna happen.
This has layers
don't
of
even
role
get
playing because I'm already turned into a dog. So then I'm like, am I role playing Charles as a dog too? Like I really got to get in character here.
Jeff, come on, keep up. Keep up, man. Keep up.
I just get to play the producer. Yay.
Hi, everyone. We're the Co-optional Podcast where we talk about games.
Occasionally. Oh, so are we done with the bit now? We're
don't
done with
know.
it?
I
Okay.
don't know that we'll ever become with the
Insane.
bit. I think this
Okay,
bit goes
yeah.
forever.
It probably does. All right. So games that
Like
we
lamb
have
chops all
been
over again.
playing. How about that? Games that we've been playing.
Games we've been playing.
Yeah. So games that I have been playing include, got the big handy dandy list here, mostly of release dates and stuff too. So current-ish games that I've been playing, Banner Saga 3. Anybody
Great
else
game.
playing it? Yeah. I like that all three of them are now available on the Nintendo Switch because now I feel like my Switch is slightly more validated than being just a giant weeb machine like my Vita was. So I mean, I don't know. Although I did play some Wolfenstein on my Switch, so it's not a total weeb fest. Not yet. We'll get there. But yeah, Banner Saga 3, I've been really enjoying. I was upset that I kind of started 3 before going back and replaying 1 and 2 on my Switch, because I sort of wanted to carry things on with previous saves.
Does it follow a linear story through the whole thing? Okay.
And so I was kind of upset that I didn't get that experience, but I was laid up having treatment, so I couldn't really get to my PC, so that's my cop-out. Sorry. What do you think about it, Jesse? You've been playing?
As a person who has seen the story go, so basically, for those of you who don't know, imagine a game that is a combination of like Final Fantasy Tactics meets Oregon Trail. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. It is super phenomenal. The story's great. It has that Nordic vibe to it. The best thing about it, by the time you reach the third one, is all the choices you made and characters that have died along the way, et cetera, et cetera. It plays a major role in the story. And I haven't beat the third one yet.
Me either.
So I don't know where it goes. But like, it's now that all 3 are out, I can say with confidence that it's probably like you don't need to have played all 3 to enjoy the third, but you should. For your own sake as a gamer, you should play the first 2 because a lot happens and a lot of it's really important to what's going on in the third game. And it's phenomenal. Like, it's a phenomenal adventure that there's so much I want to talk about, but I can't spoil it because
don't spoil it.
a lot of stuff that happens in it that's really, really cool. So
we'll probably talk.
Awesome. I've never had a chance to play it, but just you saying that there's stuff that carries over. I love stuff like that.
Me too.
That makes me really want to play it.
From like the first one to the second one,
and stuff, or just any like Dragon Age, or just like any of those choice things that carry over to any other game, that sells it so hard for me.
From the first one to the second one, there's at the end of the first one, there's a major thing that happens that can determine the fate of multiple characters, we'll say. So like that can change the story of 2 in drastic ways, which is like fascinating to me. So yeah, it's a phenomenal game to get. You just have to be in the mindset of like, I'm doing
playing it for
right
a while.
Now. Like, and also keeping people alive and like not being insane with your battles and like doing things that are nonsense. Like there's some sound strategy to stuff because it will punish you. Yeah.
I like the series. I haven't played 3 yet, but I have played the first 2, and I enjoy the series. So I just I have to like manage my time, and I'm currently still trying to catch up with Ni no Kuni, which actually Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdoms, you don't have had to have played the first one, but oh my gosh, the art style for that game is just gorgeous. I love it so much. And I'm loving the story so far. All the characters I love them all. So
Hello Neighbor was one that I was going to bring up.
Sure.
I played it back on PC a while ago, and I had issues with it. I played it back when it was in early access, and then played it after like its traditional release on PC. And I was like, oh, this is really cool, up until tons of bugs and like the stealth wasn't really working for me. But I did want to bring it up just because now it did get a Switch release on the 27th of July, and it's out on PS4 and iOS and Android. So with it being open and available now to so many platforms, I'm curious to know if anyone else has been playing it or if anyone else has seen any improvement to the game, because I just kind of saw it as a bit unplayable after a while. I know a lot of people really liked it. I loved it initially. It ticked all the boxes for me initially until I'm like, the main thing that I'm in this game for, the stealth, didn't quite work.
Yeah, it didn't seem to work for me when I played it either.
Yeah. It was finicky. The controls were a bit weird. It's like, well, where do I hide? How do I hide? Am I safe if I hide here? Do I like not move, or do I have to move very specifically and very speedily in order to avoid being detected? So,
yeah, I think with stealth games, there has to be a lot of. I think you can even go really simple. Like if you look at Witcher or something like that, you can stealth and make it a UI element that makes it really easy. Or obviously, when you have invisibility spells, that makes it easier. But like some kind of visual element always helps people, whether it's a UI element or because when like, ooh, that person has seen me because they have like an exclamation point on their head, or that sound that we all know from like Metal Gear Solid or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like those are the things that like stick with people, are those types of intuitive indications. And I think like as a game designer, you should always be thinking about those things when it comes to like your character interacting with the world and the people in the world.
Just speaking of kind of like stealth, or I guess, I mean, it's not so much stealth, I suppose, but I just wanted to bring up a little funny anecdote for a moment. I have Hue lighting system stuff in my house that I've kind of like invested, like as bulbs burn out, I'll replace them with like a Hue bulb or something so I can control my lights. Mostly just so when everybody forgets to turn off a light, I can just turn it all off at the end of the night and just know for a fact. I have a
smart house too, and it's the most amazing thing.
I just love having that security.
It's going to make me even more fat.
The problem is that my son is playing like one of the FNAF games, and I turned his lamp off when he was playing it, and he freaked out really badly. And he's like, "Mom, you can't do that. You scared me."
That is such a great way to mess with people when they're playing scary games.
I know. And the fact that I already knew what he was doing when I did it, does that make me a bad parent? Because I have access to, so I knew what he was doing at the time that I turned the lights off, but it was like 2 a.m.
It matters if you were consciously like, "Ooh, I'm trying to mess with him," or if you're just like, "I'm just turning off the lights."
Well, I saw the process running, and so the process didn't actually look like FNAF to me. I think that's the thing, as I knew he was playing a game, I just didn't know what it was. And he's obviously getting his bedtime more restricted now that school is about to start in a couple weeks. But yeah, I knew it was 2 a.m. and I knew he was playing a game. I wasn't 100% certain which game it was. I could have, if I went into like our Steam thing, the parental view where I could see actively what he's playing, or even just looked on my friends list, I could see what he's playing because he added me as a friend.
Ooh.
But
not embarrassed of you yet.
No. Not yet. I have too many games.
Yet.
I have too many games for him to be embarrassed because he shares my Steam library.
So, touche.
Yeah.
Checkmate.
It's like I own all your games, but yeah. So I thought I would throw that out there. It's like if you really want to freak your kids out someday when they're playing anything stealthy or anything slightly scary, or like Prey. Prey would be great
really
to mess with your
kids. F your kids up. Here's my advice to you, Wink.
Throw them in the deep end. Throw them in. It's like if you have the man balls to be playing, a game like that at 2 a.m.
You have to build the resistance.
Yeah, you gotta put it out there, because it's just, why not? There are scarier things that could happen and probably will happen in a dorm in college at some point.
Damn.
I mean, way
RAs
scarier than that.
in.
Yes.
Yeah, way scarier than this. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that anecdote up. It's like, get a Hue system, or just even one Hue bulb that happens to be the main lighting source in their room. Set a timer for it to do something, because you can do that. And just have fun with your kids, right? Yeah, video games, sorry. Yeah, so Titan Quest is out on Switch now. I typically wouldn't bring that up, considering that it's a game from 2006, but
that's an old game.
I like Titan Quest that much, and it's like, if you want a Diablo-esque kind of game to play on a Switch, I think that'd be a cool one to play.
If you're really into Greek mythology and all that kind of stuff, it's great.
So I thought that would be fun. Also wanted
I still go to like Path of Exile when I'm looking for like that type of game style.
Oh yeah,
I still really like their potion system, and then the way things, I don't know, I think they do a really good job.
Also wanted to bring up that Yakuza 0, whatever you want to call it, out on PC. That happened August the 1st. I haven't played it yet. Have any of you guys played it? Any interest in it?
I haven't played it yet.
Okay. Just wanted to bring it up since it came out. Dead
Sorry,
Cells.
bros.
No, you're fine. Yeah, so Dead Cells is the game, obviously, that's getting a bit of attention because of the IGN review that's been pulled for it. I haven't played it yet either, but it's out on PC, Switch, PS4, and Xbox One, and that came out today. So I don't know. Might give it a look, see if it's worth that kind of. If you enjoy a labyrinth-esque style thing with branching, and I don't even remember the verbiage now, but it was covered by at least a YouTuber and stolen by IGN.
I've actually owned it for a while and I just haven't played it yet, but I've seen people playing it when it was in like the earlier builds on Twitch and stuff like that. And I know I'd probably like it. I just haven't gotten around to actually playing it yet. But now with the story and stuff, I'm like, I might play it now, honestly. Figure out what's going on here.
Yeah. And the big thing for me, I guess right now, is Overcooked 2 comes out.
I've seen a lot
today.
of people streaming that.
Yeah, so that's out today. So that for me is probably going to be one of those things where I'm like, I gotta find a friend.
I'll be your friend.
It's like, be my friend, but then let's fight and not be friends, because that's what Overcooked does to people. I really like the
constant
first
yelling
one.
at each other. No, we gotta do this.
It's like you haven't actually seen Hell's Kitchen unless you're playing Overcooked with me, because I am like the executive chef of the co-op situation.
Oh, so
I take it over.
Whoever's the secondary is like the sous chef for you.
Pretty much. It's like you're there to chop things. You're the third hand that I don't
sassy
have.
chopping. Is that okay? Can I sass?
Yeah, you can be sassy about the chopping. That's fine. That's fine.
Just sitting there. I'm chopping as fast as I can. I can't put out any more things for you.
But yeah, so that's what's kind of like the bigger releases, I guess, of what's come out in the past. So that aside, what have you guys been playing recently?
I played Pool Panic. It is an Adult Swim game that just came out recently. It is very, very silly. It is a game where you play pool, but of course, because it's wacky, all the balls are like goofy people and you're like trying to run away from you and stuff. It's very silly, very cute. The actual mechanic of playing pool, I hated so much.
Are you not good at geometry, or is it just like it's so
like
not?
It shows you if you pull back on the stick, it like shows you where stuff's gonna go, so you can figure it out. The problem is that because you're using a mouse to do it all, when you move, it's sort of like you're trying to move your mouse like you would move a controller thumbstick, and it just was a pain in the ass. So then I tried to use a controller, and it just made it like even more of a hassle. And I was like, I just don't like the mechanic of not physically like shooting pool. And so I just like, that was the actual playing of the game was the thing I hated the most. The rest of the game
is what I hated the most.
It doesn't seem that important though.
Yeah, but everything else was very cute and very like all the characters, the worlds that they created, all the things you'd have to do. Each level was very silly. I mean, like aesthetically, it was very pleasing, but maybe I'm just terrible at those types of games, and so it's on me. But
I have a game that I have a similar feeling to you as, and it is because I'm really bad at platformers. A Hat in Time is an amazing game. Everyone should play it. I absolutely love the story. I love the little world bits, but I am the worst at every single time there's a platformer aspect of it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so bad at this. It's like, and it doesn't let you start like from where you left off. Like you have to restart at the beginning if you like mess it up.
I would rage. I would rage so hard if I had issues.
Oh,
with
there's
a game
lots
like
of clips
that.
of me raging.
Yay!
At one point, I almost like gave up.
Oh no!
But the game is so good. So I feel you on that. Like where like you like the game, but you're like, I hate this one core element of it.
Right. Is there anything else you guys have been playing lately?
I've been dipping my toes into Octopath a little bit.
I love Octopath.
Yeah,
but
I'm only like
I feel like
7 hours in or something like that.
You're further than me.
Because I picked it up like a few weeks after it came out, or a couple weeks after it came out.
I feel like I've chosen like the wrong character or something.
I know, it makes you feel like I don't know. It's kind of weird because every character has a different skill that you can use on the NPCs in the game. And I chose Therion, the thief guy, as my first guy because I was like, stealing seems pretty good. Like, I'll just steal stuff. And it actually turns out that it is really good because in the game, money is like actually really difficult to get. and things are really expensive. So I ended up just stealing most of the equipment that I am using in my party right now.
With that said, though, what is the story of that character? Because that's my biggest issue with this game, is that the story, like every character's ability, from Hanat's like fighting with the monsters to Ophelia having followers. Like, I played through a lot of starting things before I figured out who I wanted to be.
Sure.
And almost every single one, I was like, this is a fucking boring ass story.
Yeah, that's the kind of the problem I'm having with it is exactly that. Like, because when you first start the game, you can pick 8 characters. For people who don't know, you can pick one of 8 of the characters to be your primary character. And when you have to play their first chapter, but as soon as you're done with that, you can go off and get any character you want to get and add them to your party. But you have to play their first chapter. So you're basically stuck in the loop of playing the first little bit of everyone's story, and the first part of the stories are really slow. So I'm kind of hoping that when I get further in,
a lot of like urgency in them. Like Ophelia's story is kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it, I think. Or Hanat's story is like, my master went missing and now I'm gonna go look for him. And it's like, this is the beginning of our grand adventure. The only one I felt that was like important on a story level was both Primrose and
the warrior guy.
Ulrich. Yeah, like
I think it's Ulrich.
Yeah. His story, I was like, it's super tropey. He's the warrior, like the knight who now like protects a town kind of thing.
Yep.
But at least I felt like, oh, he's the dude who like betrayed him has reappeared and it's time to like go on a quest. I get that shit. Okay.
Like, it has more weight to it than anything else that's happening.
Yeah, it's a weird, there's a lot of that in this game where it's like beautiful and the music's
so
amazing.
Pretty.
Yeah,
and the combat is super fun. Like everything about it I love, except a lot of the story stuff's like
strange. It makes you kind of like, am I doing this right? Am I doing the right thing? I started with Ophelia, which was totally the wrong thing to do, because nothing is really explained very well. So you're like, ooh, I have the power to get NPCs to follow me.
Right.
Ooh.
And they're super strong.
But you don't actually realize that you can summon them in battle. And that's why her ability is good.
Yeah.
Until you it dawns on you maybe about 3 times into your first battle, and when you've died 3 times and you actually go and Google, like, how are you actually supposed to win with Ophelia? And it's like
some of those bosses are tough.
I just didn't understand. I was like, I don't really, I shouldn't say this, but I will. I don't enjoy games that require me to go look up like a wiki or a walkthrough or anything that could potentially spoil the game for me. I don't even enjoy putting the character's name into the search bar along with the game.
The UI should be intuitive enough, or something in the game should be intuitive enough to like let you know, like, oh, I can summon things, right?
Right. But at the same time, it's like, am I just that dumb? Am I just that blonde? The answer could be yes. And that's the other thing, is I just don't want to have that validation.
It doesn't really actively be like come up to you and say, use your abilities like a lot. Like, it doesn't do that. Because like you would think like stealing, like they give you a chance to lose, or there's a percentage for each item you can steal from someone. And if you fail it, it's just like, well, dang, don't do that 4 more times or you're in trouble, mister. Like, and I was just like, oh, okay, well, I'll just try again. It's fine.
I think it's a really pretty game, though, and I need to continue playing it. I haven't picked it back up yet, but I need to. I'm only about 3 hours in, I think. So there's still a ton for me to explore and other characters' storylines to go through. I don't know. I was just knocked back by that initial stigma of why am I dying so much? It's like, I've played games like this before. What's going on?
The wall happens so early if you're not grinding. Like it's like you literally have to start grinding almost immediately, which is probably why I haven't played it as much either. I'm just like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. Like I'm gonna have to sit there for 20-30 minutes and level up a little bit more,
which I think is easier when you're playing a character like Ulbrich, who is like my thing is I go up to people and fight them, and so afterwards you get experience doing it, and like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go around town and just beat up people because F it, and it like makes that wall a little more manageable. But yeah, there's just so many bizarre things that if you played Hanat, because I was like, oh my god, I can just literally be Aloy in a video game. Great, I'm in. And she was the first character I chose, and literally the dialogue's like, Loeth, behold thy knave. Shout I do this. And you're like,
she talks like an accent. Yeah.
I thought that was every character in the game, and I was like, this is unplayable. This is an unplayable game.
I was like, oh no. As soon as I got to her, because I went straight to Theron to pick up Honey, and then I was like, oh no. Like it's gonna be like this the whole time.
I thought it was every character in the game. When I finally started choosing other characters, like, oh thank God, it's not that. But like that was so jarring. I was like, wait, what? Why does this character talk like this? Oh yeah. No, that was fun.
Because she's from the north, from that little village in the north, but it doesn't take that long to get anywhere else. So the dialect doesn't make any sense that it would be so different.
It's like that one chick that's from Hokkaido in your anime. And it's just like, why is their accent like so different? I know, maybe I'm the only person who notices those things.
I've been playing that.
All right, I just killed the combo. That's fine.
You're fine.
What else have you been playing, Jeff?
I've been dipping my toes back into For Honor a little bit, just because they've updated it quite a bit since it originally came out. Because it was kind of unplayable a little bit in like competitively when it first came out. There was just too many things going on that people could exploit.
Right.
Like I remember watching, I think it was like the first Evo or big tournament of the game, and it was just like, oh no, like this is bad. Because if you don't know, in For Honor, you lock on to someone and you have like a radial, like 3-point menu, basically.
It's like martial combat. So you have all the directional combat.
You have directional combat going on, and then there's like a parry system and light attacks and heavy attacks.
Those, and you have to block the right angles.
Yes, and there's like a bunch of different characters you can play as. There's all these different styles and things that mesh together. And so originally when it first came out, and it was not, I guess, very well optimized, or they didn't really consider that people would just cheese the crap out of it. You could just unlock.
Just gonna roll.
You can just roll around, and you can just like unlock from the combat, and then people would just start running around and doing anything they wanted, and it just looked so weird. It's like you're not even actually fighting.
But at least now you got Valiant Breakthrough, so it's at least it's sort of.
Yeah, I mean, well, they've added so much to the game, so I'm actually having fun with that.
Good.
They added a new martial style, right? Too, a new combat style. Or
they have 3 new characters that they're adding really soon, and then they had 3 previous characters that I hadn't played yet because I played it way back. So I've been toying around with those guys, and they changed the way parry worked, because like the problem that was happening was parry would leave you open to like a really big attack no matter what. And so no one actually wanted to attack because parrying would just completely destroy you. So they fixed it so that so that people aren't actually afraid to fight. So it's way better, at least now. But they're actually changing again all the stuff in the game, which I don't know how that will go down yet, but because they have like all this gear you can get in the game to like change your stats, and they're axing all of that. And they're putting in this like perk system gear stuff where you like build up so many points towards a perk that you unlock. So it's like, oh, I'm wearing these 2 pieces of armor so that I can build so many points to unlock this one perk instead of having just stats.
Huh.
So I don't know how that'll work yet, but we'll see. Hopefully, because I feel like it's in a pretty okay place right now. So hopefully they don't completely just backtrack again, and then they're back to square one, and it's not good again or fun.
It's a lot more interesting to watch now than it was then, because it was literally like the same like 2 moves over and over, and that's kind of all you really saw of the combat. Like people literally just cheesed, like you said.
Yep.
So at least now there's more variant to it, and you actually feel like there's more fluidity, like it's an actual combat is taking place, and it's not just the same 2 moves happening over and over and over again.
Yeah, I think that was the issue. And a lot more combo moves that are coming out where you do a combo and then it goes into an unblockable or something like that. So you have more options to like mess with people and mind game them a lot more, which is great.
Curious if it'll be a comeback for them, because they were doing really well when they first launched.
Yeah.
And I know at E3 they gave like they basically opened it up for anybody to get access to the game and have it for free. So hopefully people took advantage of that when they did that.
So anything else you've been playing, Jeff?
Man, I haven't been playing it, but I've been thinking about getting back into WoW again. I don't know.
Oh, are we going to talk
so
about some
hard, the
battle
draw
for
Azeroth? It's so real.
Come join us.
Jesse, what server do you play on? I'll play. No.
Fire Tree.
I'm on Dark
It's a
Spear.
very topical server right now. Fire Tree.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're so right. Oh man, I don't know though if I'm gonna.
I have concerns too. So this is our new topic right now.
What are your concerns? Let me talk to me.
All right.
As a person who's been in it literally hardcore for the last year, as a person who's gotten out many times.
As a person who has only gotten out of it once, but it has been for a I mean, it is the longest span that I've ever been out of it. Keep in mind, I've been in it since classic vanilla alpha.
Sure.
So, been playing. I opened the Encourage gates. Okay. Ooh. Been playing a long time. Played all through Burning Crusade. Played through Sunwell. Everything. I stopped playing after I maxed my characters out in Legion, because Legion was just very jarring for me in a weird way. I'm not sure why it was so jarring. And a lot of people did. A lot of people came back for Legion, and I totally understand why they came back for Legion. It just, at the end of maxing characters out, at the end of Legion, I don't know. Maybe it's because I play on EU servers and I live in America. I mean, it used to be better for raiding for me to do that back then, so it made more sense. But I also do have like some max level characters on an NA account too, so it's just more like I have all my pets over here. I have most of my achievement mounts over here.
Like your investment is all over there.
Yeah, they're kind of scattered, and I really do wish that at some point they could just push them together. I know that probably will never happen, but I can still.
You don't think they'll make a mega server, basically?
I wish they would, but I don't.
Transfer servers.
You can't transfer internationally, though.
You can't transfer internationally, but you can transfer servers. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can. You can have a Battle.net account that happens to have both the NA and EU, which is what I do. But a lot of those mounts and special pets were not considered like account bound because they were way back in the day. So like my Tyrael from attending like the European version of BlizzCon way back in the day is over on one side. And anyway, it's neither here nor there. I stopped playing in Legion, maxed all my characters out. I have 10 max level characters, one of each class.
You have 10?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, that's so many.
And
in Legion, I only have one character that I played. I started a brand new character because it had been so long since I had played, and I was playing with someone else. So I got to max level, but then I didn't really do much of the end game stuff. I never have too much though. I've never really done raiding. I would love to, but I feel like it just takes so much time.
That's what kept me for the longest time, because I'm that weird person who I played up until 4.0.1, and I know very specifically that is the patch because I played a lot in the Lich King, and I was like top of my server. Like I played a lot, like all the time. And what drove me away was when they added the masteries in, and everything, all the classes, they started changing the talent trees and making them very homogenized. I just felt like everything felt the same to me, and I got really frustrated with the system and just ended up leaving.
I would say they're different,
but I'm back now.
No, like Blizzard, what they've done and what they continue to do is every expansion they change shit up with classes, and try to like make it in their. I'm trying to think.
They're trying to make it better, right? Like I know that that's the intention.
You feel like you're the class you're playing, I think is what they're going for. So they change spells around. So whatever spec you are, like that's what you're supposed to, whatever. What I will simply say, Jenna, and to everyone is the exact same thing that I've said for years. Got to get on the Jesse system, which is
oh man,
what's play at launch.
Tell us. Yes.
You play at launch. You enjoy the shit out of launch. It's great. It's so much fun. And then you just back away for a little bit.
Yeah,
like, well, that was
a couple
fun.
Months.
I did a lot, and as what I did for Legion, the reason why I enjoyed Legion.
That's what I did for Legion.
What I did for Legion is I did like a few LFRs of the Emerald Nightmare, and was like, well, that was fun. And then I stopped. I was like, I'm gonna go do something else. I'll come back later. I came back right before they released Antorus, which is the final raid. So I skipped to like 8.1, 8.2, and maybe 8. I kept trying to like skip those. When I came back, all that content, instead of being on that bullshit like weekly timer of new content slowly, it was all there.
Yeah, I just
so
don't like
so much to do, and I was just like, all right. And I did all of it, and I had so much fun, and it was just like a blast. I powered through all of the Broken Shore stuff, and I had a ton of fun doing that. And it's just one of the things where you have to like, I agree that the way they did this expansion with like timed like gated content, I hate that shit. But Blizzard has always done that when it comes to WoW. So I don't need, like, as a person who suffered through Pandaria, oh my god, like
that's when I stopped.
I didn't even come back for that.
Yeah, Pandaria was like, do you want 12 billion daily quests and 1 million reps to grind?
Do you want to be insulted by the fact that you leveled all of your professions up from scratch on 10 max level characters?
That's insane. I would never do that, though. So
that's the whole thing. By the end of Legion, this is what I was doing. I was logging in on all 10 characters to basically do whatever special crafting thing they did.
The garrison stuff.
Make this very special thing that I could make, that only that one could make, go throw it up on the auction house, relist auctions. And that was literally what it was. I have so much gold that I can't even begin.
Humble brag.
I have no. And it's all on my own. That's the whole thing. Because I have 10 max level characters and they all have max professions. Basically, it's like, 5 of them
generates
have all the different ones, and but even like fishing is maxed and cooking is maxed and everything. So I make all of the raid mats, make all of the special stuff that only those characters can make, throw it up on auction house, and all of my characters are in the same guild together. And literally, that's all my guild is just my 10 characters.
That's intense.
Damn. And
you're like next level. I think it's player.
That's why I have so much money, is because that was all it was, is I would log in, do the ship things, go send the ships out to do whatever. I had max oil on all my characters or whatever. So they just went out and came back and brought me stuff. Yay.
The one thing that I'm interested and concerned about for this next one. So in Legion, one of the things that made it so easy to do everything that I loved was there was a add-on. I can't remember what it was called. But literally, so for those who don't know, WoW used to have daily quests, and daily quests where you just go to a hub and you pick up the things and you do it every damn day, and it sucked. Now they have world quests, which is the same concept as a daily quest, except you can decide where you go. It shows you what the reward is, and then there's like 7 or 8 in the zone, and you only really need to do 4, which is like, oh, cool. So I can pick what I want to do.
And there are other people there doing it too, and so
sure. Well, that's the trick. Is there was an add-on that every time you got near a world quest, it would pop up and be like, yo, do you want to join a group that's doing this? So you could search. Blizzard was like, well, no one's using our looking for group functionality, so we're going to make that add-on illegal. So now, as a person walking around trying to do world quests still, I'm just like, I don't want to fucking have to do this by myself. And I don't want to have to go into an LFG and be like, type in the name of the quest and hope someone's like, it was just easier. And I'm not looking forward to having to go through that hassle.
Implement some UI
they will, because it'll be like how Quest Finder eventually became built in like to WoW. It's like, why are so many people using this specific add-on? It was like the most used add-on was literally Quest Finder, so that way you knew where the quest was sending you. And then Blizzard,
I think it was like Warhammer Online had something similar to that, where like the open world quest, and like when you went into the area where that like event was happening, like it popped up and you could join like the rest of the people if you wanted to. I feel like that's not too hard for them to implement if they really wanted to.
And that's the thing, is they'll probably just borrow that. And
chat telling me back end stuff. Good job, chat. I see you, chat. I see you, chat, with those back end things. I got new add-ons to add now. I see you, chat. But yeah, I think the new expansion is crazy.
It's really easy to catch back up. So if you are someone like me who has not played in a while, you can easily go back in and do all of the new quest line that they have going into what's going to be. It
literally gives you equipment that's better than you can get from some raid stuff. Like the equipment you get just for doing dailies in Darkshore is like really high level stuff.
I will say this though,
the catch up is real.
I guess I'm on a PvP server, so it's different, but they're going to change the way PvP works in the future
so
too.
PvP, it's already changed. The way it works now is
you flag yourself on, right?
Yeah, if you go to your main town, on your character, you can go in and say, I'm a PvP character. And so you'll be phased into areas, like when you go different places, the phasing will be other PvP people will be with you.
Interesting.
So even if you're on a PvP server,
I have to go to Stormwind to turn it on, and then I have to leave to go to. It's really odd.
Yeah, but it's
so weird.
I remember flagging up for PvP before we would go kill world dragons. Like that was what you did back in.
Well, this is even on PvP servers. Like
I'm on Darkspear, which is a PvP server.
But
then you get bonuses. So if you do flag for PvP, you get 10% more experience when you level. And you get 3 additional abilities that are passives you can add on to your other abilities that make them even stronger. And so for me as a shaman, when I call down thunder, it doesn't just hit one guy, it hits like 20 dudes around him. I'm like, fuck yeah.
So you can use those PvP moves on like the mobs and stuff though too, right? Like it just
gives you access to more stuff, but you're flagged. So you can just be ganked or like, that kind of stuff. You can turn off and you can go through the story without dealing with anyone, and you'll see alliance players running by, but they'll be orange, and so you can't like mess with them. Or horde, but why would you mess with horde players?
Yeah. Sorry, I've only ever played on a PvP server because
But
I'm on a PvP server as well because I've been playing with
So am I. Fire treat.
Me too.
But the thing I think is interesting with this is that they've really taken the time to go in so far, except for Shaman. That's the only class they haven't changed. My heart. But because a lot of the abilities in the last expansion were tied to the weapon, they had to go back in and rework classes. So now, if you are like, the combat's boring, I promise you there is a spec and class for you. I just the other day was like, I'm gonna learn about Death Knights. Let's play some Death Knight stuff. The difference between the 3 specs of Death Knight is like insane right now.
Well, yeah,
from being ice to plague to blood, like they're totally different. It's like you're playing 3 different characters, and you can switch.
What I liked about it way back when.
Yeah, and then it was like right after, Wrath of the Lich King. That's when they changed it. It was like they changed all the masteries, they changed all the talent trees.
Everything, and then it's everything can tank, everything can DPS, everything can heal. Like I kind of threw my hands up because I've mained Shadow Priest for I don't know how long. Ever since Classic, I was that one Shadow Priest. I was literally like the mana battery for my raid.
Nice.
I was the only one allowed to play it. I was the only one allowed to play it, and they would always be like, "Well, can you spec Holy for this, or at least spec Discipline so you don't run out of mana and like stuff."
We always
Discipline's super strong right now. By the by,
I know.
The shielding stuff was like what people had me swap in for.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I don't like what they did with my Shadow Priest. I've hated what they've done with Shadow Priest for I don't know how long. It took all the coolness out of it. But
look, we had Shaman had totems. There was a time where we had totems.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I haven't thrown out a totem in like 2 expansions.
The last time I threw out a Shaman totem was in Hearthstone.
And you're just like, here we go, let's roll the dice.
Well, they also I don't know what it is like now, but as druids, like you had different like tree forms and all that stuff, and they changed the way that stuff worked too.
It was all tied with your weapon and stuff like that, and each spec. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do with stuff like that in Battle for Azeroth, because everything's tied to now. The main item is a neck piece, and that neck piece you upgrade, and then you get bonuses to put on like armor that you have, and you're allowed to have like 3 pieces. Yeah, you're like, well, kind of question mark. I'm not sure. You're allowed to have 3. I played the beta for Battle for Azeroth up through the very first zone that I stopped because I was like, I do not want to be spoiled anymore because crazy shit's happening. I
mean, you won't have to wait too long. It comes out in 7 days. Yeah.
Technically 6 for the States because we get it Monday at 3 p.m. here in LA. So,
does it release on a maintenance day? Oh, guess what? The 14th is, because today is, well, do they still do maintenance on Tuesdays? Because, just saying, 14th is maintenance day, if they still do it on Tuesdays.
Fascinated by what is going to happen with this, because a lot of people are coming back. Yeah, a lot of people are coming back. A lot of people are interested in
Super cute.
It's always fun to be around for like the rush, like when it's new and like there's tons of people playing. It's just like such a big thing, like a big event, and it's just so much fun.
The one thing I've never understood, and WoW players do this all the time, is every time there's a new expansion, the people who have been there the entire like for years, who are like streamers or YouTubers or whatever, their initial response every time is like, all these fake players coming back and they're ruining it for the rest of us. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? You should be thrilled.
We have an account.
You should be thrilled more people are coming back and more people want to play.
Who complain when there's no one playing, like mid-expansion.
Hashtag dead game.
Yeah, come on.
Can't find anyone to raid with.
Thrilled everyone's coming back to play. It makes it so much better. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, people like to complain a lot. The only other caveat I guess I have about coming back is that all of my characters on EU side anyway are all Horde. And I haven't looked at any cinematics. It's like, I love you, Taron Gregory. I know you do such an amazing job on
Taron Gregory is a monster. He kills people in his cinematics. He's a terrible person. Don't kiss his ass.
Hashtag spoilers.
I see you, Taron.
All I know is that what was showing up in my Twitter feed, I mean, I had certain things filtered basically because I knew cinematic was dropping, and I knew that people were going to start speculating and talking about spoilers and things like that.
Hashtag not my war chief.
There you go. It's like, now I feel like I already know everything. Damn you, Jesse.
The thing is that the storytelling in this expansion has gotten, like, it's really, really good. When you play it, you're like, oh my god, like they're actually telling a story this time. Which is Blizzard in the past has stumbled when it's come to actually telling a story and not just giving you a series of things that lead to something. Right. So they're telling a story, and so far they're developing really well. The problem is they sold it at the beginning as like both sides of this conflict are like it's morally like gray, and there is no villain here.
It's like
there's definitely a good side and a bad side in the conflict. And it's one of those things where like if they just said, like, we're going to tell you a story.
Misunderstood, Jesse.
It's just one of those things. If they said, we're going to tell you a story and don't judge the story by the opening chapter, just know shit's going to happen over the next 2 years. This expansion plays out, and just be prepared and come on. And it's going to be great. Instead, they were like, guys, it's just, it's going to be everyone's a villain and everyone's a hero. It's like, the fuck are you talking about? The shit I just went through, there is no gray there. There is zero gray. So,
so I just haven't delved into any of that because I'm scared that I'm not going to enjoy my faction after this in some weird
Can I tell you,
way.
I think you will. I think because
you think I will hate it or not?
No, I think you'll enjoy it.
Oh, okay.
Because
they started setting up some stuff already. I think that was like, okay, yeah, there's some ambiguity. There's some disagreements already happening.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. And I just did the stuff that came out today, and you can see, like, I know a lot of people were like, I'm angry, my faction status, stuff like that, right? But like.
You could technically switch it if
people don't know the full story yet, though.
That's like, but people are mad about their status in the faction, but the faction that has like people up in arms is the faction that's the most fucking interesting right now.
Yeah,
like you're getting
a Horde right now.
You're getting a much more interesting story by shipping crazy And that's what I think Blizzard should have done, is said, like, we're going to tell a story this time. We're actually going to do storytelling.
Yeah,
we
but
brought on
like
real writers to write for us.
They've been telling a story.
Yeah, and I'm cool with it. I think it's neat. I think that everyone freaked out because, you know, they pumped this whole expansion as like Horde versus Alliance. Get your fucking shit together. Let's go wreck some. And
I liked it too. I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go back and like just fight Horde versus Alliance more again.
Yeah, and that's that shit that's like when they dropped that Starfang cinematic afterwards. I could have fought off like 100 dudes that day. That I was like so pumped. I was like, fuck yeah, all right. Yeah.
I feel like I need to go back now just so that way I know all the things that you're referencing and just but at the same time I have to.
It's not going to spoil anything for you in a sense because you're going to have to learn it anyway as soon as you hop in and play.
I know.
It's literally like the very first thing that leads to everything that's happening, basically. So
I was just thinking that maybe I could like skip this expansion. Do you know, you ever get that feeling where you're like,
here's the thing.
Yeah, that's what I did with Mr. Pandaria. I got that feeling and I did it.
Yeah, that's when I skipped too.
And you can always go back. Like when when Warlords came out, I skipped most of Pandaria because I was like, oof, I just can't be asked. Warlords came out and I did my whole thing of like come back right before the new expansion. And I ran through all the Pandaria stuff. Pandaria is beautiful. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty to look through.
Story,
coming back in Warlords.
The story when you can blow through it is really good. Like when you can go through it like this, it's fantastic.
And some of the content was really easy, obviously, because you're coming back from Warlords. But like what I heard in general was it was pretty easy to do.
And I think that's the thing.
Just
like
visually, it was a weird situation. I remember being the first streamer that actually streamed it, and this was back when Twitch partners and things were still kind of like. There were maybe like 10 of us that were Twitch partners. And I remember getting the code and Blizzard saying, literally on the phone with Blizzard, I'm like, my husband's not home yet. Can I stream this? I was the first person to ever stream Pandaria on Twitch. And I literally streamed it for the first 10 minutes. The entire thing I'm shouting is, oh my God, this is Disney. What in the world, Disney crap?
Disney.
This is Kung
really
Fu
pretty,
Panda.
yeah.
This is like weird. What is happening? Pandas everywhere.
It definitely stands out.
I mean,
that's for sure.
It was just such a weird thing. It was just like, is this fan service for China? What's going on? And
it's so good though, and.
It was eventually, but the first initial 10 minutes, I'm like, this is what everybody's experienced. First initial impressions. I was just like, man, I did not sell this well at all.
No, and I think that's what's crazy is I agree with you on that. When you start Pandaria, it's kind of wild that it's like, it seems a little slow when it starts. Yeah. And it acts that way for most of the questing part, but it builds up over time. Like the story gets better and better over time.
Yeah.
Warlords was the exact opposite for me. That's my least favorite expansion. The first hour, 2 hours of that is fucking amazing.
It's great.
It's great. And then the minute you clear that and you hit that grind of like, well, I got to get my garrison up and I got to do that shit bored the hell out of
so much grinding with the garrison stuff.
The rest of that expansion, I hated.
Fortunately, they made it easy with with the phone app stuff, which did cut it down for me a little bit.
You didn't even have to log into the game. At that point, you're just like, yeah, okay, done.
And that's the problem, though, is you don't even have to be in the game anymore to do all the stuff. And then you were just kind of in your own little instance garrison for like most of the time.
I do want to remind Jenna that I do have to go.
Yeah, I know. We're about to wrap up in a minute. I just wanted to say, just keep in mind that I had to do that 10 times.
Yeah, no, that's nonsense.
You
can pay $60 now and just get a free 110 character.
Good luck.
It's so easy. Just I think when you buy it, you get like a character for a 110 character.
That's what I'm saying. When you buy the game, you get a max level character.
Yeah, I just made a new character on a new server with new friends. I'm like, well, I lose out on all my cool stuff, like my little ice dwarf, but whatever, I'll just deal with it.
I still haven't redeemed my token for like the 100, like the level 100
Me
guy
either.
or whatever.
I haven't either. Not yet.
Well, you can get a 110 now.
It says 100. I will say this: the UI says 100, but it will level you up to 110.
Oh, nice.
Cool. It's lying. It's something's wrong with it.
New.
So yeah, decisions will have to be made. I'm just going to run through some games that are coming out soon, just so that way we have some closure, and then we're going to wrap up, and we'll talk about some of these games later.
Meeting to go to.
Yeah. So August 9th, Monster Hunter World for PC. Definitely playing that.
Nice.
Although I've already played it on PlayStation 4, so it's like, ooh. If I would have known
so smooth.
if I would have known they would have come up for it, if they were going to do a PC release, I probably would have just waited. But yeah. August 10th, We Happy Few. Going to look forward to how that's going to turn out. I feel like it might not be what we thought it was originally going to be. Maybe, I don't know. I'm confused.
Well, they had a different release that was like just their beta footage.
Right.
I don't know. Apparently there's a story, so I'm excited, and we'll see what happens.
It looks cool. I like the style.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Oh, I love the style too. Battle for Azeroth, which we've been talking about, comes out August 14th. Also on the 14th, the Bard's Tale trilogy is being remastered. So awesome. I think that's going to be cool to check out. That's In Exile, which, In Exile has done some pretty awesome stuff. So that's on PC. Death's Gambit is something that I'm looking forward to. Also coming out on PC on August 14th. That's the Adult Swim and White Rabbit Interactive collaboration.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like an action RPG, but you're like exploring an alien medieval sort of planet. We'll talk about it on a future podcast because that's a game that I'm going to be looking at. Death Garden comes out on August 14th, so that's a big day for releases. August 21st will be Shenmue 1 and 2 for PC. Thanks, Sega, finally. And a game that I have listed here, but I'm probably like the only person who's going to play it, is Little Dragon's Cafe. Comes out on August 24th. And it's for the Switch. Don't hate me, guys. But this is the creator of Harvest Moon. And you make your own dragon. You raise your own dragon. You cook recipes. And you grow the ingredients to cook the recipes to feed the dragon. And you also feed your neighbors. Sounds like a mobile game. Well, it is on Switch, so
that makes sense then.
I just know it looked really cute, and that's why I said my Switch is probably going to become my weeb machine at some point. But I'm just like, you grow the produce, and the best produce makes the best food, and then you feed the neighbors in your.
Gotta make my dragon strong.
Vibes.
And then you grow the dragon, and
I've been playing a lot of Stardew Valley, so I'm with you.
Yeah, so I'm just like, because it's the maker of Harvest Moon, I'm just like, oh yes, I am so in. But yeah, those are the releases that I have that are kind of up and coming for the month of August. I am not entirely certain if I will be here next week. I may be in Iceland next week.
Yo,
kind of a
okay.
last minute thing. So that might be a thing. I may actually be gone for 2 weeks because I'm thinking about going to Creamfields in the UK because I have to get my EDM on because I am that old and EDM wasn't even a thing. I started out with trance when it was the Detroit sound way back
I'll be in UK that weekend.
What? Oh, Maggie, you gotta come. You gotta come.
I leave. I'm going to the UK. I leave the 17th and I don't come back till the 28th.
Come do Creamfields with me. It's going to be amazing.
I don't know if I'll have time for that because I'm running esports tournament stuff, but yeah.
Just leave that. That's fine.
Hey guys, I know you flew me out here for work, but peace.
So yeah, next week we do have Peanut Butter Gamer on the show.
Who?
Yeah, Peanut Butter Gamer. That guy. The guy who occasionally makes content with Jeff, who's awesome.
What?
He'll be here on the show. I know that we have a couple other guests that are scheduled, but I haven't nailed down firmly their dates, so I don't want to announce them before they've committed. But I just wanted to thank everybody for tuning into the show today. We did run for 3 hours, so enjoy that. And we didn't even take a break, okay? This could have been a sponsored episode, but I was like, no, we have too much to cover, too much to talk about.
I'm sorry, I derailed too much.
No. That is probably our primary source of income is derailing this
derailment.
Yes, this is what people actually sub for real.
You're welcome then.
But thank you so much to Maggie for jumping in Brooke's place at the last minute. We heart you.
I
so
hope the
much.
little burrito's doing good.
Same. Thank you so much, Jeff, for coming in. I'm sorry we didn't allow you to talk a lot. We are very big-mouthed people against these mics, I'm afraid.
That was great. Thank you for having me.
We'll have you on in a future episode where you can maybe talk a bit more. Maybe when either
I'll just
myself
shut up.
or Jesse isn't here. I don't know.
It was nice meeting you, Jeff, also.
You
too. Jeff and I met.
We will definitely invite you back when we do our Gone with the Wind Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, Charles. Oh, Charles, come here.
Is that more of I come back or you guys abduct me and put me into the
bag of holding?
We'll get Krendor to do it.
Krender plays the best robot. I just want to say this.
Thank you so much to Jesse for joining us at the podcast. As always, I know you were like streaming. I think you were actually streaming some Battle for Azeroth stuff-ish.
Yeah, new stuff came out today.
Yeah, so thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to make this podcast a thing that's happened. And thank you, the audience, for tuning in. And if you do happen to want to chat and call us all losers or whatever, hit that sub button, give us your money. Yay. And if you're watching on YouTube... I like
that those are two... You should do hit that sub button, period. Give us your money. Should be a separate thing.
Totally
Give
separate.
us your money.
Totally separate. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hopefully I got the archive out on time. Leave me a message in the comments and let me know what characters you actually want us to play for our Advanced Dungeons and Dragons in the South situation.
I'm gonna make this a real thing now.
I feel like I want to make this a real thing. I think
I've always wanted to do a campaign with a bunch of old people. Like a bunch of like old characters. Like just have the whole crew as old characters.
Excellent. I'm in. I'm so in.
Funny.
But thank you guys so much for watching. This has been the Co-optional Podcast, episode 223, and we will see you hopefully next week. So, bye everybody.
Toodles.
Bye.